Testing. What up? Oh shit, Mega, what's going on? Where you been? Where the hell you been? Never caught one of your lives before, but I'm almost caught up on the entirety of your content. Well, welcome, Cassie. Yeah, we just chilling for a little while, and then you'll get to hear me record and be silly. Joel really rocks. Just finishing Apocalypse Now, awesome movie. Yeah, it's interesting. It's like a fever dream, Odyssey type vibe. Please say, and remember, we were trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty. Okay, yeah, you gotta remind me at the end here. I will do that one. What have you guys been up to, though? Anything cool? I'm fasting again today. Well, not again, but for the first time in a while. Because I find, even with like, I don't even know, controlling calorie intake, I just don't see the scale move like at all. It's weird. Yeah, it does suck. But I find like, you may have seen these, Hannah, but like, or really anything that you could use for electrolyte powder that's 0 calorie or whatever. But I use this one called like Element, LMNT, and it's like 10 calories total, but the saltiness of it really helps to kind of like stave off the hunger a little bit. What made me start doing this channel? I just wanted to make $1 billion. Changeling Blaze, welcome back for 13 months is 1 year and 1 month strong. Thank you, Changeling. Appreciate that. Fasting sucks for like 3 days, then it's okay, you know? Yeah, but I'm fairly certain the major benefits of it, depending on what you're doing it for, at like 72 hours is when your body starts cutting into your like muscle for energy. So from what I've seen on YouTube mainly, is that if you want to get the major benefits, it's like 36 hours is what I try to aim for. But like after 48 hours, it starts to get a little precarious. Currently on a calorie deficit, it's been a struggle. It's just been consistent. Results are showing fast. That's good. It's good. Are you doing any other, well, I guess, yeah, other exercises? Do you have a cat or a dog? I forgot. I have a cat. He's laying beside me right now. Working out isn't doing it. I'm not losing, but consistently fat. It's tough, man, you know. And some, you know, I don't know. I guess people who do the calorie counting and you get everything locked in, they'll probably just tell you like, well, then go down another 100 calories or go down another 200 calories and see what happens this week. And that's all you can really do. What color cat? He's black. He's a void. Dark as midnight with no moon. Go-to podcast, more flights next time. Pass the time. You're welcome, Slim Jim. Good to see you. Where you been flying to? Fries Serenity with the 5s has been productive with exercise and chores while listening to the lecture. I love your voice. Thank you. Appreciate you. Joel, I ordered a Fear Department shirt and I'm so excited to get it next week. I love you so much. Oh, thank you, Brooke. Yeah, if you guys do get merch, please do take a picture and of yourself or of the merch and tag yourself, and then it's always fun to share it on social media and link more people. Question I guess is, did you see the shirt pop up during a video that prompted you to get it? Because I'm glad they added the option for like shop stuff there. Listen to the pod while mowing today, nice. Then we just do parole officers. Well, these ones are undercover. Deep undercover. Behind enemy lines. Training for my police academy, I was 230 and able to run 1.5 mile in about 9 minutes. To quote FMA, he's that big and move that fast? It's not fair. That's funny. This channel has surpassed Lazy Masquerade, my favorite YouTube channel, which I never thought would happen. Yeah, Lazy just put out a new Disturbing Things from Around the Internet video. I'm fairly certain those always do really well for him. About one of your hoodies and went to lunch where it was stolen from you. What? Someone stole your Let's Read hoodie. That's fucked up. Why the hell is anybody stealing clothes? Smoked a bowl, snuggled up with my heated blanket, ready to hear some stories. Let's get it. Oh yeah. Hey, wait, let me test something real quick, because that seemed like super delayed. Okay. Just testing. Vicky and Xavier say hi. They say they can get a shout out. They're excited for your stories. Well, hello, Vicky and Xavier. Get ready for some good ones here. They're gonna be spooky. I'm gonna be stealing my merch too. Yeah, I guess it's just that valuable. It's like seeing a diamond necklace on your lunch table. When I started to do cardio while on my deficit, you would get me through 30 minutes on the Stairmaster. Nice. Yeah, that's definitely where you want to be. Getting your low intensity cardio in. Now the question is, is that your main workout, or do you do that at the end of your workouts, or when do you do your cardio? My undercover cop story is that one of the FBI agent who learned how to surf so he could catch bank robbers. Yeah. Catch Keanu Reeves jumping out of planes. Joel working on some D&D prep. Love having your stories in the background. Well, thank you. Yeah, how is your D&D campaigns going? I feel like that stuff takes a lot of like coordination and talent too, to just like think of stuff on the fly. David, thank you for the one, man. Good to see you. I rewound when you were effing off and said ghost farted right in my butt. Nice. Have you ever communicated with Mr. Nightmare? I have not, no. I remember I messaged him like years ago, I think on Instagram or email, and he never said anything, so I was like, well, whatever, no big deal. I would love to collab with him, but it's just, at this point, it's like, it's really not a big deal anymore. I stopped cardio recently because of my new job, but since I'm on my feet and take 20,000 steps daily. Nice. Do you keep track of your cals? People are always asking how I have the balls to listen to your stories during night shifts. Oh, that's funny, yeah. Do they give you the heebity-jibbities? What's up, Axe G? Been a huge fan since 2014. Voice definitely mellowed out. I remember the time you got robbed. I think that was you anyway. Good to see you're still here. Did I get robbed? I don't think I ever got robbed. Hopefully not. Adelaide, thank you. Appreciate that. Also, I've been trying to like hone in on what the best kind of music pre-stream has been, and I really think that like synthwave is the way to go. It always like keeps my mood probably at its highest while still being like very groovy. What's up, Hayden's wife? You say at the end should be, and remember, if you talk to your poop, you are fluent in crap. Productive genre, yeah, it's awesome. Everyone's talking about counting calories. Meanwhile, it's 9:30. I'm making chicken and dumplings from scratch. It's all good. Enjoy it. I feel like food that you put together is food that you've earned. What's up, Iris? You and Mr. Nightmare are great. I'm an author who loves horror stories. Keep it going. Thank you. You ever consider making a blooper reel of sorts? That's some funny stuff that comes up in live streams. I really wish I could, you know what I mean? Like, I wish, because if you've ever been on Twitch, people can clip things, you know, they clip funny moments. And I know you can clip stuff in YouTube, but it's this like awkward sort of, it shows up on their channel. It's not like its own independent sort of place you can go to like download the clip. But that would be amazing if, like, you know, there was just a lot more convenient way in the current form of YouTube live streams to clip stuff and then can make little compilations of it and put it up on social media to entice people, or like at the beginning of videos to entice people to join a stream. Amber, welcome to the Butter Sock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Am I on Twitch? I am not on Twitch, no. Sometimes I think I should be, just to like, I don't know, maybe get some new viewers, but I really just like never think to. Goosen, you're welcome. Listen to the 3008 Friday theme, it's a good chill beat. 3008 Friday theme. Oh, Roblox SCP 3008. Okay, sweet. I'm low to Mr. Nightmare's channel, plus he's the king, but now I consider you up there with him. Keep up the great work. I promise I'll donate ASAP. You deserve it. No worries. Thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate the fact that it's always long to the best. Yeah, that's kind of like where I try to get a little bit of a leg up, make the longer videos. Have you ever had something paranormal happen to you? Oh, he's curious. I guess I've had like some sleep paralysis stuff, but it's hard to say sometimes. Sometimes you look back on your paranormal experiences and you're like, am I nuts? You know, am I fucking crazy? But I remember, you know, I had like a friend who, well, they don't like specifically claim to be like clairvoyant, but sometimes they're like sort of like a gateway to paranormal experiences, I guess. And, you know, they'll just like, they say that they have like dead people come and like try to talk to them and stuff and tell them stuff because they can see that they're, you know, in tune with that stuff. I don't know. It's hard to say what I make of it sometimes because it's not super conclusive, I suppose. Occasionally, I smell a fart that I'm like, that's not my fart. I know my stink. But yeah, sleep paralysis is the worst. Drug deal gone wrong stories, please. I definitely had some drug deal stories, but yeah, not enough, I feel like. People need to start slanging some fent. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Just try to get military stories too. I'm ready for Undercover COP and beyond. Yeah, and I've got some military stories, both normal and paranormal, on the channel if you want to look it up. But hopefully some more in the future. Beach Salad, what's going on? Good to see ya. But yeah, another 5 minutes here, guys. I appreciate you being here. We'll kick off the narration, switch to a spooky mood. We're gonna get to hear a story where to hear a different POV as an example, burglar perspective, the stalker perspective. I actually do have a video of that. It did not go well when I released it. I'm trying to think. It was from like so long ago. forget exactly how I... Perspective of the Stalker, well, that's like a Reddit one, I guess, but there was one video that was like all of those, but it was not a super long video. I don't know. Am I usually on this early? I'm trying to get on a schedule to start around like a little after 9, just because I want to try to, you know, get to bed by after midnight so I can kind of have a normal sleep schedule. And it's been going pretty good here for the past week or so. Perspective of the serial killers. So I was chopping her into sushi when she started squirming. I work at a mill with a guy named Terry. Nice. Yeah, from the perspective of Diddy. Before we start recording, what games, if any, are you into right now? Sadly, still addicted to Overwatch. I personally hate that game with a burning passion, but I've kind of realized I think the feeling of hate that I have for it is what keeps me engaged in it, maybe. But yeah, I won't go into that. I have to resist. I have to resist talking about that dog shit game. Appreciate the early lives. Yeah, I know that there's a... And I've always been curious, like, about people... If I started in, like, really random times, if I would get, like, an entirely different audience. Obama. Elvis, press play. Welcome back for 18 months. If you have any stories where you were the killer, feel free to send them. Yeah. Just serial killers listener like, got lots of tips from this. Overwatch is interesting. I'm the same with CSGO, but I love it. Yeah, you know, I heard CSGO is just like filled with cheaters. You know, I have access to my email with people sending stories, the let's read submissions at gmail.com, but I also share access so that I have somebody who goes through and is able to find stories, kind of siphon through them and do a little bit of editing. Top 3 on YouTube, Mr. Nightmare, you and Chilling Scares. That's so funny. Yeah, Chilling Scares really just like started kind of recently, and he was the one that was like, he does the exact same length of video and thumbnail styles like Mr. Nightmare, which was intelligent because it like really kind of helped stuff to like take off. I mean, I guess now he just does like still frame stuff, but at least early on, like going back to his earlier stuff, I don't even know. Yeah, a lot of it's like Mr. Nightmare style thumbnails with like the same length of like 10 to 15 minutes long, which was pretty brilliant, honestly. It's almost like if you can like trick YouTube's algorithm into like look at that, dude. He started, when did he start? I don't even know if I can see. November 28th, 2020. So like almost 4 years. That's crazy. He's already over 1 million subscribers. Like, what a feeling that's gotta be to just like speed run the narration community. I mean, it happens sometimes, you know, but that's hilarious. Yeah, 6.6 million views. This guy's living good, bro. 1.33k, so over 1,000 subscribers a day. Dude, that's what's so fascinating about YouTube, is like the less you post, the better you do. Second coming of Mr. Does he sound like him too? I don't even know if I've really heard his voice. It's funny, he like uses the same editing style.
Urbex Hill is one of the most popular urban explorers.
Holy shit, he sounds like almost exactly, not exactly like him, but very, very much in that range.
Channels on YouTube featuring raw footage from YouTuber Chris Hill's visits to a lot of the more extreme abandoned buildings in the US. From abandoned mental hospitals to decommissioned military facilities, Chris explores all of it, but specifically places...
Interesting. Well, there you go, guys. I mean, like, if you ever want to, like, fucking jump on board. Let's fucking start a horror channel where you talk over scary videos. Yeah, I don't even know. I guess I'm in my mind, I'm like, there's not even like a sense, there's like a degree of like competitiveness, I guess, in the sense that you're like, damn, I put all this time and this la la la, and this person rolls in, but then at the same time, you're like, well, you want the whole squad to eat, you know what I mean? So if other people are doing well, that's awesome. I think that's a fantastic thing. It's just that the gods of the algorithm hath smiled upon thee. Next subscriber reach goal, I don't even care, you know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty fortunate that the channel moves up like between like 300 to 500 a day, you know, and I'm just cruising at this point. I just get the content out, you know. Seen the trailers for Boy Kills World. No, I've not. Beach Salad with says, thank you for the entertainment. You're welcome, my friend. Good to see you. Smaller channel called Black Volumes. Black Volumes. That sounds a cool name, though. What do they do? Oh, it's Narration. We found Dogman in Michigan. That's cool. Could maybe benefit from like maybe investing in like a different mic, but it's pretty sweet. Okay, well, we got Undercover Copperones here tonight. Chilling in the chat. Don't say anything bad. Just kidding. Stories. Stories. Do you add your flavor to your submitter stories? What do you mean flavor? I add my spit. Your thing is lagging? Damn. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I really wish that YouTube live streams weren't as demanding. But Beach Salad, and also thank you for becoming a member of the Buttersock Cult. Appreciate you. All right. We got 4 stories tonight. I don't know. I guess at some point here, you know, if someone considers themselves like pretty proficient in like compiling and editing, I really wouldn't mind like trying to start like another channel. Like I started one with my clips channel, but it did not do well, you know. But like actually starting a channel where it's like stuff caught on camera or like spooky ghost videos that I just commentate over. I could see a whole nother channel of that nature like taking off. Meet me in real life, but recognize my voice. It might happen. You never know. That would be wild to me if someone was just like, "Are you Joel? Are you Joel from Let's Ride?" Hey, thanks, Kiwi. Good to see you.
Mischievous dog.
I feel like I would get scared. I'm scared. 7-Leaf Clover, welcome back for 14 months. Is making supper, well, French toast with homemade whipped cream, bacon, and breakfast sausages. So, AFK, no worries. That sounds delicious. Yeah, is anybody here going to start a YouTube channel? You guys, anybody here already started one? Or if so, what do you do? What is your shtick? Oh yeah, Sydney, you got one. A little ASMR action. Joel reviews umbrellas. Okay, I think we're cleared on the mic, so we should be good there. All right. You got a Pokemon channel? That's cool. What do you do on that? What I'm about to tell you is probably the single craziest thing that's ever happened to me. If there was one event from my life that I think transcends just being a personal experience and would make a good movie or short film or something, it's this. So, back in 2012, I used to work at a card shop here in Pittsburgh. We weren't like a greetings card store, though. We bought and sold trading card games, or TCGs. I'm talking about things like Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering, stuff like that. As part of our jobs, we were very active in online message boards related to various trading card games, especially when it came to buying, selling, and trading threads. We did a lot of business using those message boards, and they were also where we got all our news regarding updates and new releases for the various TCGs that we dealt in. And so, one day, I roll into the shop to find my boss and a coworker sat in the office in just complete silence. They were just staring at the office's computer screen, all this wall of text that had been posted on one of the TCG message boards, and when I asked them what the deal was, they gave me the TLDR. One of the largest collections of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards in the entire United States had been stolen from its owner, and according to the post on the message board, the robbery itself had been absolutely terrible. Two guys in ski masks broke into the collector's house, tied him up at gunpoint, and then tortured him until he gave up his cards. The collector had all of his rarest and most valuable cards locked up in a safe and had his less valuable collection on display. But then instead of just grabbing binders full of cards, the robbers seemed to know that the more valuable ones would be locked away somewhere, almost like they had inside knowledge of this collector's habits. The guy ended up in the hospital and had to have an emergency transfusion from all the blood that he'd lost. I think he tried to hold out and talk them into taking the less valuable cards or something, but they knew that they just had to burn him or cut him a little more, and he'd eventually give up the goods. And they were right, too. The message board post went on to say that literally thousands of dollars worth of cards had been stolen from this guy, and basically warned every collector and dealer on the East Coast to watch their backs and be on the lookout for this dude's stolen collection. As you can imagine, we were all pretty shocked. I mean, it's actually not all that uncommon for thefts to occur in the TCG community. We just never heard of anything. Just open up packs like Pokemon cards. Oh, nice. Yeah, you know what's funny? You say that. I actually, at the local gas station, they had Pokemon cards that they were selling. I don't know if they were like old ones that got repackaged, but I bought like 4 of them. And it was kind of cool to like go through them. I have no idea if any of them were like valuable at all, but they looked like they were like newer gen. I could stream myself playing retro video games. I love old games. Yeah, you have to understand, like, if you get into YouTube, you're not always going to have like a meteoric rise like some people, you know? And you really do have to have a degree of just like comfort in knowing that it might not take off, you know? But staying persistent and trusting yourself, like, you will eventually build an audience, you know? But it's tough. It's tough knowing what to go like right into. Been doing vaporwave mixes since around 2021 on this channel. Interesting. Can I listen to it? Oh, and some Let's Plays too. Let's play Final Fantasy. Yeah, that's the one thing I learned not to do on my YouTube channel, was like mix content too much. Like, even the live streams I know sometimes upset people, but I remember back in the day, like, posting Let's Plays on the Narration channel and people commenting like, "You're ruining your channel," you know? And I used to be like, think like, what the hell is their problem? But it's a little bit true sometimes if you, like, in the algorithmic sense. Other channels for gaming, I do not know. This is cool. You did the visual editing too. That's sick. That's awesome. I love music, dude. I'll definitely have to give that a longer listen to later when I'm chillaxing. I'm chill-maxing. Do I still have my old Pokemon cards? I don't think I do anymore. They might be at my parents' house, but I remember like selling a lot of them in the past or giving them away before I realized how truly valuable they were. Joe, how long did it take you to gain your first 100 followers? Man, you know, it definitely happened in, I guess, the first year for sure. But yeah, there were times, I still specifically remember like religiously checking Social Blade back in like 2014 or something, like going on vacation with a friend's family and seeing that my YouTube channel got like 10 new subscribers that day and just like shitting my pants, being like, holy crap, 10? Because up until that point I had only gotten like, you know, 2 or 3 a day, or maybe 1 if I was, you know, if you're lucky. And like then I remember like one of the first collabs I did was with King Spook, and from his like collab where I like narrated an entire video on his channel, and that helped a lot. I remember that like went from something, I got like 300 in one day from his channel, and that like blew my mind, you know. King Spook. I don't know if King Spook's still around. I remember like he had some issues going on and he deleted his channel. But I really liked his voice. It looks like there's still some of his stuff around. Wait, that's not him. Huh, weird. Yeah, I think he... Wait, this one? No, I think he may have deleted all of his shit. That's so sad, man. He was a good narrator. Wait, no, that was... I don't know where... I don't think anybody did, like, re-uploads or anything. Creeps and Fast King Spook. This one? No. Dr. Creep... Oh, yeah, we have to go with it. Yeah, I don't know. Sad, I guess. Get to get it from other uploads. Yeah, I didn't see any other re-uploads either, but if you find one, let me know what to type in, because his voice is kind of raspy like this, and I don't know, it has this sort of vibe to it that not a lot of people do. And I always really liked his VHS intro, you know, it just kind of like, it's disturbing, but it's not like jump scare, you know, and it's kind of just, it really like pulls you in a very subtle way compared to like maybe my intros are a little bit loud, I suppose. The Wayback Machine. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the Wayback Machine has videos. I never really used it before. Wish more of the Vaporwave community would see my vids, but Joel is probably right. It's the mixing of content. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying in that regard, like if you notice, like your more recent video, I think like had a couple views versus the one having like 1,000. Sometimes like if your audience doesn't know what to expect, then they might be less likely to click new, you know, like a new video when they get the notification for it, which then kills, like, because YouTube is very heavily based on like momentum, and that's why, like, you know, channels like Chilling Scares would do really well, because each subsequent video from the get-go has like really good momentum, you know. And if you're releasing like once every 3 weeks, and every time you release people are like shitting their britches, it's going to push it out to more people, and it just kind of compounds upon itself. So he's probably very intelligent to stick with that like every 3 weeks or 2 weeks or a month or whatever upload, because all of his backlog is going to be getting him views. And then whenever he does finally release more content to kind of maintain that momentum, it will just keep building upon itself. What was the channel's name? It was just King. It was King Space Spook, SPOOK. Maybe he might have stuff on Facebook too. Like, I don't know if he posted some of his stuff on the Facebook. It's whatever. I mean, no worries. He did have he was very kind to me in the sense that he gave me a shot. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people, you reach out to them and they don't even acknowledge your existence. And sometimes that, like, it's not that it hurts. It's just that you come to the realization it is what it is. But when someone does finally, like, give you a little bit of a chance to get some momentum, you don't forget that. You know what I mean? You ever watch Nick Crowley? You know, I've heard of Nick, but I don't think I've ever actually watched his content. I'm not like a big horror watcher guy within the internet's darkest corners for. Okay, so like true crime stuff. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, if you're comfortable putting yourself in front of a camera, you know what I mean? You can make a lot of headway as far as, and yeah, he looks like he obviously puts a lot of work into his videos and research and all that kind of stuff, so it makes sense to space his stuff out. But when you do that, it definitely puts a lot of weight into each upload for your audience. And then and like I said, YouTube is very slingshotty, where you can just kind of keep bouncing heavier and heavier upward. Any movie recommendations, Joe? I have a good free time. I need some recommendations right now. Well, on Netflix, I would suggest not watching Japan Sinks 2020. Is he more like Nexpo content? I do believe, yeah. They're actually, I think they're like best friends or something, because I think they have a podcast together or something like that. Yeah, you know, Japan Sinks 2020 is so fucking bad. Sometimes I kind of got used to, like, back in my like early 20s when I would watch a lot more anime, that like sometimes you click on a anime out of the trillions that are available and it's just fucking absolute donkey poop, because you just don't even know where they even thought that idea made sense to make a show and then animate it. Now, granted, the animation is always impressive because I don't know how the fuck they do that. What I think about Mr. Balin, he's awesome, man. Great guy. Appreciate his military service too, and he's actually a fellow Pennsylvanian. Yeah, man. Japan Sinks 2020, very bad. And it's funny because I think it's like a Netflix original anime, but it's just so weird to me, like, because in conjunction with watching, I finished that one today, but I also finished Ghost Stories. I don't know if you guys ever seen Ghost Stories, but it's hilarious. It's a great little show where they didn't have they didn't get the rights to the audio, so they just did joke audio over top of it. And like, you know for a fact that anime, if it didn't have like funny jokes in it, it would be just complete dog poop. And I feel like that's what they should have did for Japan Sinks 2020. They should have just still progressed the story, because you know what it's going to be, but then just did like funny, you know, dubbing over it, because it was just the most disconjointed, nonsensical, like everything from like how it was written to the voice acting to the like musical score that they put over it. It's like they had like 5 songs they could choose from, and they were limited to that, and somehow like hoped that song would be appropriate for like people getting like their heads squished by concrete, you know. It just never made any sense. Heard of Dark Reality. He reads scary stories too. I wish more people did lives like you. If Mr. Nightmare did, that would be awesome. Yeah, it would be cool. I thought about that. I'm like, probably Mr. Nightmare never would not do that, just because, you know, his content is very, you know, it's not as much, so it'd be hard to like maintain a longer live stream or frequent live stream with not as much content. Let's read Mr. Balin are the 2 best channels for horror narrations. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, Mr. Balin he's been on some big podcasts lately, I think. I think he was on the something Ryan podcast or whatever. Yeah, Sean Ryan podcasts, Navy SEAL turned content creator, yeah. Which is sick. I mean, it's actually not all that uncommon for thefts to occur in the TCG community. We just never heard of anything on that kind of scale. To have targeted a big collector like that in a way that suggested some... Wait. To have targeted a big collector like that in a way that suggested some... Oh. Comma. To have targeted a big collector like that in a way that suggested some pretty in-depth planning that was spooky on all... What the fuck is this? To have targeted a big collector like that in a way that suggested some pretty in-depth planning, and that was spooky all on its own. But then to have tortured them, it was very chilling. And not nearly as chilling as the following day when we had a very unusual-looking visitor stop by our store. I wasn't actually working that shift, but my boss told me the story later. It was a weekday afternoon, so the store was basically empty aside from one of our regulars when a very unusual-looking customer stopped by. Speaking of regulars, we made most of our money from a very small core group of customers. Occasionally, some random kid and a parent would stop by to take a look at some starter decks from Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! And if it was the first-time visit for most other folks, they usually visit one of the several nerdy... What? And if it was a first-time visit for most other folks, they usually... Oh, okay. God, I don't follow. Anime called Another is a few years old, but it's amazing horror mystery. Oh, okay, that'd be sweet. Hey, Hayden's wife, take care. Best of luck. Adding some animations to the story you read. You know, sometimes I think about that for as cheese as the other animation channels seem to be, I wonder how hard it would be to, figure out their... It's just the time it takes, because they can, take our narration and then take the time to animate it with their stuff. But the amount of, because I'm, recording it tonight and then releasing it tomorrow, it would take a little bit of time and additional stuff, Yeah, there's a lot of good content online. I just blew your cover, I'm sorry. And if it was a first-time visit for most other folks, they usually fit one of several nerdy archetypes. But the day after we heard about the collector getting robbed, the person who walked into our shop did not have the look of your average TCG enthusiast. What social media should tag the merch on? You can do Instagram at letsread.official or Twitter at letsread. Whatever one you prefer. Haru, what's going on? My boss said the guy looked like he was a mechanic or something. I saw the security camera footage myself, and he pretty much nailed it. From what I could tell, the guy had dirty overalls on with a pair of sunglasses covering his eyes, and he had short reddish-brown hair. The guy walks up to the counter holding nothing but a thin plastic bag, puts it on the counter and tells my boss that he's got some cards to sell. My boss is a savvy guy, so instead of asking him anything too direct, he asked the overalls guy how long he's been collecting as a form of a non-confrontational information gathering that he was doing. What? I'm not even sure. Why is this? Does this have to do with undercover cops? I wonder when the undercover cop comes involved. Runa Ray Train, welcome. Just making some content for tomorrow. What's up, Ashley? There's one other narrator that I can stand to listen to. There's so many I can't. Malevolent Mischief isn't bad. You should pair up with him. Interesting. I'll have to check that out. My boss is a savvy guy, so instead of asking him anything too direct, he asked the overalls guy how long he's been collecting, as a form of non-confrontational information gathering. The guy replied that he wasn't a collector, and that he'd inherited the cars from his brother following his untimely passing. My boss shares his condolences, and then the guy adds that he wasn't trying to get some cash together to... My boss shares his condolences, and then the guy adds that he was trying to get some cash together to pay for his brother's funeral, so he figured that he'd stop by to see if the cards were worth anything. My boss promises to pay him a fair price for anything we could flip, and then opens up the bag to check out what the guy had brought in. My boss said the second he opened the bag, his jaw dropped. Inside were a mix of extremely rare Yu-Gi-Oh cards, protected by a mixture of soft sleeves and hard plastic top loaders. There was a Cyberstein card, a Dark Paladin card, 2 Black Luster Soldiers, and a Chaos Emperor Dragon, just to name a few. And these constituted some of the rarest cards on the market at the time. But strewn among them, my boss starts spotting the likes of a High Priestess of Prophecy card, a number 11 Big Eye, and a Spellbook of Judgment. These were cards that had only been released just months before, and not all in the same set, meaning someone had gone to great lengths and potentially spent a lot of money to be able to secure them all so fast. My boss then started thinking how the guy's dead brother must have been a pretty serious collector. So in the most polite... Yeah, those all Charizards. You ever thought about having people send you money through PayPal or another instead of YouTube? YouTube takes. Yeah, there's actually is a PayPal one in the description, I think, of the stream. It's like does it through like Streamlabs, I'm pretty sure. But that goes through PayPal if you want to do that, but no worries either way. So, in the most polite and respectful way possible, he asked the guy what his brother's name was, since he might have been one of our regulars while he was still with us. The guy dropped a name my boss didn't recognize and then mentioned something about how he wasn't from the area. And that is when my boss starts to realize something. The Yu-Gi-Oh collector that had been robbed just the previous week lived across state lines in Ohio, somewhere outside of Cleveland, I think, but don't quote me on that. Anyways, my boss starts... My bars. Did you ever get absolutely zooted on Blazing Nug? No, I get scared. Also, yeah, I saw the episode of with Tim Robinson for the characters, and that was so fucking funny. Just like him like trying to buy like a weapon, but like all like then he goes into these monologues about how people were mad at him because he shit in their toilet and just left an absolute paint job. It's just so, yeah, the Pointer Brothers, it's so funny. Oh man, I'm excited for more shit from him, honestly. The Yu-Gi-Oh collector that had been robbed just the previous week lived across state lines in Ohio, somewhere outside of Cleveland, I think, but don't quote me on that. Anyways, my boss starts thinking, if he robbed some Yu-Gi-Oh collector, the smart thing to do would be to drive across state lines to Anyways, my boss starts thinking, if he robbed some Yu-Gi-Oh collector, the smart thing to do would be to drive across state lines to stay one step ahead of law enforcement. He then starts to realize that a lot of the cards the guy had brought in that day were the exact same kind that had been stolen from the collector, particularly cards like... fucking shit I cannot fucking pronounce, god damn it. Maldoke Queen, Tiramisu. Cringe. I'm looking up on YouTube. On YouPoop. Fuck.
I'm going to be doing that up until Friday. I'll have a queue going up. This is the third one in the week. It's Wednesday now when this should be going up if I stay on a schedule. But anyway, I wanted to make a quick video at why Madolche Queen Tiramisu is so...
Madolche Queen Tiramisu? I wonder if they have the last word. Madolche Queen Tiramisu. That was like the tiramisu, like the fucking tiramisu. Wait, do you play Yu-Gi-Oh, Danielle? Yeah, it's not the food, it's a Yu-Gi-Oh creature. It kind of looks like a queen fairy or something like that. No, you're good. Yeah, I thought it was the dessert too. I was gonna say that. Tiramisu? Wait, hold on. How is it? Madolche Queen Tiramisu. Okay, sweet. Particularly cards like Madolche Queen Tiramisu. Then slowly but surely he figures out that the story about this guy's brother suddenly passing away was just that. A story. My boss, being the guy that he was, lowers his voice and then tells the mechanic-looking dude something like, "Look, I'm gonna be honest with you, buddy. These cards are worth a heck of a lot of money. A lot more than what we got in store right now, but if you give me until Friday, I can scrape together $5,000 in exchange for every card in that bag. Does that sound like a fair deal?" And the guy smiles, nods his head, and then my boss asks for a name and cell number just in case he needed to contact him. The guy says his name was Ricky, and then gave him some excuse about how he was between cell phones or whatever, but that he'd 100% stop by Friday afternoon to make the sale if we were still down. My boss then shakes the guy's hand, kind of jokingly makes him a promise to come back on the Friday, and then watches him walk out of the shop. He said the next few minutes were pretty surreal. He went back to his computer and reread the post about the collector getting robbed, which I think was written by one of this dude's Yu-Gi-Oh buddies since the collector himself was in the hospital. I saw that big wall of text for myself, and I also saw how it included a pretty comprehensive list of what had been stolen. Presumably, it had already been put together for the benefit of the cops, but it also meant my boss could check the list to make sure it all lined up with what was in the bag. Every card that was in that bag was also on the list of stolen from the collector. Every single one. So what does my boss do? He calls the cops. The officer he spoke to knew nothing about the robbery over in Ohio, so the first thing my boss does is fill him in on the whole backstory. The officer makes sure to get a description of the mechanic-looking guy and asks a few other routine questions, but then my boss informs him of the whole come back on Friday thing. He said there was a pause on... Oh, okay. Lasagna King Kalamazoo, yeah, that should be one. When are they gonna invent, like, something that can make us fly, dude? We need, like, some stupid kid's toy that just, like, flutters behind our back and we just fucking levitate and hover around and shit. You had a stroke and my vids got you through it. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm glad I could help. Get a pull a string on your back, yeah. You just like, you can flutter over to your snack drawer. They'd probably make a shit ton of sound and like displace a bunch of air, just like blowing like shit all over your room, like everywhere. Your like family's trying to have like a nice like game night out there, and they're like, oh god, I can hear them. It's like like coming down the hallway, and just like spatters all the fucking cards and pieces all against the wall. Do you want to join us, sweetheart? No. He said there was a pause on the line before the cop asked him in what sounded like disbelief, "You arranged for this guy to return to the store?" Which he had, with the promise of $5,000. The officer then tells my boss that he has to make a few phone calls, but that he'd be in touch by the following morning at the very latest. But then, a few hours later, the cop calls back to tell our boss that he was about to receive a phone call from 2 major crimes detectives who had just been in touch with their counterparts over in Ohio. Basically, our store was about to become the center of an interstate sting operation, and so as not to blow the cops' cover, we had to go over a few things with them so we could play our part correctly. And it was also around about that time that I learned that I'd be working the day of the sting. And so finally, on the Friday morning, I show up to work to find 2 random kids sitting in the manager's office. And I do mean 2 random kids, too. They looked to be about high school seniors at the most. But the second I asked who they were, they each flashed me a shiny badge that read, Sorry, I fucking lost my place here. Alright. Anyways. I do mean random kids, too. They looked to be high school seniors at the most, but the second I asked who they were, they each flashed me a shiny badge that read State Police. And both cops were in their 20s, and thanks to a fresh shave and some loose hoodies and a few very real late-stage pimples, they looked like the kind of guys that belonged in a TCG store. Now, before we opened, we went over a few final details, and essentially we were to simply go about our regular duties, and if the suspect showed up, we were to make the sale as planned. Under no circumstances were we to try to get involved in any shape or form, and when the cops made their move, we were to retreat back into the store until it was safe to come out again. No citizens' arrests, no heroics whatsoever. And that was fine by us. I mean, the dude had already tortured someone half to death, and as the cops explained, probably had someone waiting for him in a getaway car since it was 2 suspects that committed the torture/home invasion, not just one. Now anyway, the whole morning the cops were basically hanging out across the street from the store, and then right around the early afternoon, they came into the store to dart. Alexis, what's going on? Anyway, the whole morning the cops were basically hanging out across the street from the store, then right around the early afternoon, they came into the store to start doing their thing, which was basically acting like a pair of very indecisive customers. They stayed for a few hours, too. The suspect didn't show up until around 3:30, so they were pacing back and forth, just hanging out, talking to us about our jobs and the card games and stuff like that. We close at 5:30, so by the time 3:30 rolled around, we were starting to wonder if the guy was going to show at all. And then out of the blue, in walks the suspect, dressed in those same dirty overalls, wearing the same pair of shades. It got real tense for a few minutes as my boss looked through the cards, then, when he was done, he essentially gave the two undercovers the go-ahead. I was already stood back near the office trying to look inconspicuous when my boss said, "Hey, thanks for bringing these in, buddy. Let me head back to the office there and get you your cash." Then, right as we're walking into the office, intent on closing and locking the door behind us, we just heard, "State Police, let me see your hands." We watched the security camera monitors in the office as the two baby-faced cops approached the suspect with their guns drawn. He didn't even try to escape or put up a fight. He did exactly as he was told, got on his knees, and then they put him on the ground and put the cuffs on him. It was a huge relief for us because we'd very briefly discussed the possibility of a shootout happening, in which case we'd just have to hit the deck in the office and pray nothing went through a wall. But the arrest itself was actually kind of quick and boring. The guy just did as they said, and I guess because he was so stunned that he'd been bamboozled like that, he just saw these two nerds when he walked in, then the next, then... Hey, Welks, long time no see, what the hell? You just want to stress ACOB. Doesn't ACOB stand for all cats are barbecuable? In which case, that's not very nice of you to kill cats like that. Imagine dying for a Yu-Gi-Oh card, yeah. It's a life lesson to never be that much of a nerd. All cats are barfing on the carpet, which is exactly what Pradeep did earlier today. I do feel bad for him, but he'll randomly have his licking his fur, and then he eats food, and then he throws up. But I did find that when he throws up on the carpet, if I get rubbing alcohol and put that into the carpet, whatever stain is there seems to get picked up. But I don't know if that works for all stains or just this particular carpet style. All birds are government drones, this is true. Does anybody know anything about the renewal of that FISA thing? Which I heard was like a pretty bad invasion into our, like a bad abridgment of the Constitution of sorts. My cat Periwinkle had a warning meow. It was amazing. I could always get her off the bed. Yeah. Sometimes I hear Pradeep like going like, and then I can like know what I don't know. It was just something that they renewed FISA, FISA. It's like another one of those great acronyms. But it's also really sad too because, so as like, isn't it kind of fucking weird that like every little bit now it's just like Congress is just siphoning off billions, trillions really of dollars to like foreign conflicts, which granted, it's like sometimes it's like fighting these proxy wars via Israel or Ukraine, or in this case with the new one it was Taiwan, which is actually kind of scary to think like it's almost like preemptively letting people know like, hey, China is going to invade Taiwan, be ready, kind of thing. Hey, Creeper Nick, what's going on? What's happening with there is like the unseen tax against you guys, which is where you slowly but surely, the unfettered spending, via foreign aid. And, who knows what happens to your money? It just gets funneled off somewhere where they say it's helping fight some grandiose war, but really it's probably just being laundered somewhere to somebody else's pocket in all sorts of various means. But, the worst part really is the fact that, like, just slowly over time, your dollar is becoming more and more worthless, and the gap between the middle class and the upper class is becoming greater. But it's just like... It's like an erosion that has existed for a while, but it seems to be like speeding up. And that's what kind of scares me, is that the government is just like so brazen about it anymore because they know we don't do anything or even care. You know, everyone just it pisses me off when people are like, well, you know, when they explain the economy, like, well, you know, inflation. And it's like, yeah, but what is inflation? Inflation is when your government makes up some stupid spending bill and sends it off somewhere else, or whatever the fuck. And now all of a sudden, you know, your eggs are fucking twice as expensive over the course of however long that takes to get to that point. But I don't know. I hate that explanation. I hate when people just like summarize like, well, taking into account inflation. It's like, is it even possible? Is it even remotely possible to ever ask any of our elective representatives to once fucking like represent us financially, responsibly, you know? I don't know. It's just fucking stupid. I'm just bitching at this point because I can't do anything. I mean, I guess we could vote so-and-so out, but it's like, Jesus Christ, that's a lot of time for them to fuck things up. 2 years between voting, 4 years between voting, or whatever, 3 years, depending. But it's just like, whatever. I don't know. Maybe it feels good. Maybe it just feels good to bitch about stuff and do nothing about it. But what can you do? What can you do? Yeah, we could sign a paper and tell them, hey guys, hey military-industrial complex, stop manipulating our government with blackmail and bribes. I'd really appreciate you to start being nice. Start thinking ethically about our people. Yo, Anthony SBZ with the 2 says, if you use apple cider vinegar, it works better. That's funny, Anthony, you say that, because as I was about to like say the alcohol, I almost said apple cider vinegar and thought that was funny and was almost curious to try it. And now you've confirmed it. I will try it next time. Aid the Ukrainians are old weapons. Yeah, but what about the money, though? Hundreds of billions of dollars. It's not just... I don't know. Praying the inflation stops, but if it continues at this rate, about 5 years will be at the point where it'll be so expensive to travel or do anything. We'll just be living off canned beans. Yeah, I don't know. And I guess that, like, it's what's scary too is like there was like we were very close to like escalate. I'm not trying to scare you guys. I would scare you through these stories, but we are very close to like escalation to like a greater conflict with the whole Israel-Iran thing, because you know it starts off. It's like, you know, the attacks on October 7th, which results in the invasion of the Gaza Strips, which then results in then also for some reason Israel attacking that, was it a consulate or some shit in Syria or Damascus? I don't fucking know. And then like the retaliation from Iran, and then of course Israel does it again, but then at this point all we know is that Iran is like, you guys are big babies, you know, kind of making fun of them or something, and then haven't escalated things further. But it's just like there's so many different players that are intertwined in that region, from, you know, and some major ones including us and eventually China and fucking Russia with thermonuclear abilities. And it just and sure, I guess I could sit here and say like maybe it's best that we fight these wars through ongoing like draining proxy conflicts via sending fucking military aid to these like bordering countries or whatever, but fuck, I wish there was like actual leadership in our government. We have fucking nothing. We have a guy that can't even poop his pants right. What does the bonus content contain, guys, or just more videos? It's just, yeah, more scary stories, but they're usually like creepypastas and like various other stuff. Thoughts on Pakistani politics? They don't like India, do they? That's about all I know. And I guess they have nukes as well. Nah, dude, I wouldn't last a single day in politics. And I don't even really know anything. I'm just bitching, dude. I'm just bitching. Like, I don't, you know, all I do is like tangentially hear some things. It's not like I would have solutions or be the leader to like figure that. I almost feel like you need to have like the connections with the inner workings of the intel agencies and the fucking weapons manufacturer. You know what I mean? Like, how are you supposed to have those connections? You can't really. Like, you are fighting an uphill battle against a fucking tendril monster, like a giant octopus kraken that has 10 million different manners in which to grab you with their little sticky stuckers. There's just nothing you could do against it. You'd be great for the vibes, yeah. It would be nice to have some good vibes, you know. I think the shitty thing with Biden the most is, like, he has a lot of funny moments, right? He says a lot of, like, funny, like, senile, demented stuff, you know? But they don't, like, want to show that, but it's so stupid. It's like, that shit's hilarious. Like, let us see it, you know? Let us have a giggle about it when he falls upstairs and says, when people ask him, like, what are you going to do about the struggling families, Joe? And he's like, licking an ice cream cone, and he's like, why not eat some more chalky chip? Like, it's the worst thing you could possibly say in that situation. Like, if there was like a selection tree of like dialogue options, you know, that's probably not the one you should have picked, but that's so fucking funny. I'm glad he said it, just for the lols. All right, we're almost done with this one. He just saw these two nerds when he walked in, and then the next, they're yelling at him with guns drawn, saying that they'll shoot him if he even dares to fart. I guess if it were made into a movie, that scene might be a little bit more intense, but like I said, we were super relieved that the situation remained relatively calm. Joel Biden. We're related. We're both part of the secret society of Rastafarians. Live in an episode of South Park. Yeah, we really do, you know, but it's just frustrating, like, how quickly it got that way. All it took was, like, just a little coaxing in the media to become, like, schizophrenic. And now there's just, like, no going back. There's really no going back to, like, either side ever communicating or working together in, you know, the benefit of the American people. It's just, it will forever be this, like, sort of strange culture war back and forth while a dark and insidious uniparty works together in secret to make fucking Papa John's pizza $14 a slice. I don't know. All I'm saying, guys, is you got to start looking out for yourself. There's a lot of shit out there that makes you want to, like, feel like people around you in your circle of whatever aren't on your side, but they are on your side. If they're your family, if they're in your society, they are on your side. It's all the bullshit that your head is pounded with daily via social media that's the enemy, really, trying to constantly convince you that you have to be in a state of, like, stress and conflict with other people. But what I'm trying to say is that I've come to the conclusion that there's no hope for said party system. Maybe on the local level, but certainly not in the federal level anymore. And, like, you got to start looking out for yourself. You got to start, like, just being good at shit. You got to learn how to, like, make a garden. You got to, like, know how to defend yourself. You got to, like, learn how to work with your community and build strong, you know, internal structures that can support one another. I didn't see Civil War, no. but you got to be careful. You know what I mean? You don't know when that and apparently that movie was very boring. I don't think I'll see it, but I don't know, man. You got to start like being independent. You can't focus on this system to save your life anymore, because it's not working in your favor, and it doesn't care to work in your favor at all. You bought plants from QVC, everything died. Oh shit. You got to get it from Lowe's and Home Depot. That's where the good plants are. I have no idea. You have to take supplements and lift weights. I mean, yeah, staying in shape, mainly cardio, probably. Like doing like learning how to camp and shit, all that kind of stuff. I say all this stuff while playing Overwatch, but I don't know. Get your news from Hassan. Yeah, good luck. Back in 2014, my family and I moved out of Manhattan and up near this little place called Batavia. Batavia. Okay, sweet. Cryptic symbolism in your dreams. See, that's brilliant. That's where the true comes from. Talk about how fucking weird baby reindeer is. Like Rudolph? Or like actual baby reindeer? I do want to, it's like a life goal of mine to eventually interact with a orangutan. Either a baby orangutan or an adult one. I just think they're very trustworthy. Oxy, what's up, dude? There's a survival book. The first 2 weeks, do what it takes to survive after you get your goods and start a camp. Imagine how cool you would feel, though. You know what I mean? Like, if you knew that if, like maybe you wouldn't survive a nuke, but if the power went off, imagine how good you would feel as an individual, to the point where you would probably disconnect from all, like, social media and stuff, if you knew that you would be capable in said post-apocalyptic situation. What's up, Yana? Thanks for listening. You pay attention to the rap beef? No, I don't pay attention to rap beef. Rap beef is like I think rap beef is like one of my favorite things, though, and just like conceptually, because it's like, bro, you are literally like a poet. Like two people who are speaking poetry over a musical, you know, like the thing that people go like, huzzah, huzzah, hip, 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 huzzah. Like you were speaking poetry while, you know, you were like entertaining other people like a clown. And for some reason, like two clowns like decided that they were going to have frustrations with one another. Like just the concept in and of itself is so comedic, you know, because we're like, obviously it stems from like the sort of like gang culture that goes along with rap and that kind of thing. But I think just that juxtaposition between like tough, you know, violent gang culture and like the Dead Poet Society is like such a strange matching. Kendrick is going to smoke fools. He's going to smoke them. He's going to smoke some crack, and then he's going to smoke some fools. And then he's going to... And at that point, it's like, if you're making millions of dollars, you think you would, you know, to the point where you like own, you know, that's like a liability. To have like rap beef with somebody is like such a fiscally irresponsible choice as an adult man. You know? Kendrick Lamar and Drake are making great songs due to wanting to be better. Yeah, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just marketing, you know? Because can we take a second to remember that Drake was on Disney Channel? That Drake was like a dorky kid on the Disney Channel for a second. Like, if ever there was a person to like not have any street cred, it would be him. Andrew Strong, do you not trust Hassan's take? I'm generally asking others' opinions. I'm open-minded, just curious. No, it's cool. Anytime I listen to him, it's just like he's really caught in his feels. And obviously there's a pretty strong bias in one direction. And it's just anybody who like kind of negates people's opinions, like he's not very open-minded to really any sort of dissenting opinions. He would rather, debate a high school kid than fucking anybody else. And it's fine, dude. I'm not trying to put him down or anything like that. But anytime I watch his stuff, it's just, it never feels like there's a strong sense of credibility to whatever it is he's trying to sell, the sort of champagne socialist or whatever situation's going on there. And once again, I'm not trying to knock him or anything like that. If he's making his money, make your money, man. But most of us see through it. Degrassi Drake, yeah. Back in 2014, my family and I moved out of Manhattan and up near this little place called, I fucking forgot already. Batavia, right? Batavia, okay. Back in 2014, my family and I moved out of Manhattan and up near this little place called Batavia, which is about halfway between Rochester and Buffalo. Now, I'm not going to bore you with all the details of the move, just the one most relevant to the story, and that's how the worst part about moving was losing my bar. Wait, losing my bar? Drake, hands on your knees, hands on your knees. Drake's the kind of guy to go to a strip club and say, "Babe, you were meant for more than this." Drake, this is me on new song? That's it. I gotta get back into the lab. I'm going back in. If any fellow adult male ever says a rude thing about me, I must make a song about it. I must retaliate with a thermonuclear bar. But I do love that meme. I think it's of Young Thug, who's one of my favorite rappers, really. Where he's like, I think he's like his one friend or something is on the computer at their studio, and then like Young Thug is like pointing at the screen to like controlling the mouse. Or no, I guess it's the Drake one, right? Where he's like controlling the computer, and the other guy's like, "Oh yeah, duh." And just all the memes with that shit is so funny. J-Rake, the kind of guy to personify his worm. Yeah. He misses you. He's like grabbing his wiener, like swinging it around, like he says he wants to play. Drake should box Sam Hyde, yeah. What do we think of Uzi and Cardi? I think they're fun, you know what I mean? It's like, I do really enjoy those days. Is Cardi still alive? I forget. I can't even keep track of who's dying. That's also like such a strange thing within rap culture. It's just like, it's pretty normal to just die, from some stupid thing like beef or whatever, or in some circumstances like taking a lot of cash to an area where you shouldn't have taken a lot of cash. Like, imagine if Taylor Swift just got like shot, by Ariana Grande's crew, or fucking Diddy. Diddy shot Taylor Swift. Like, everybody would be like, it would be a day of mourning, you know what I mean? Everybody would be on their knees crying to the sun, like, what the fuck happened? But then, like, when yeah, I don't know, Cardi goes and fucking tries to buy a Lamborghini with all cash, and the dealer fucking tells his boys what's going on, and then they get robbed and shot. Everybody's like, yeah, well, you know, that's just par for the course, I guess, in that community. They get a bit wild at times. I'm not going to bore you with all the details of the move, just the one most relevant to the story, and that's how the worst part about moving was losing my bar. I went to the same place to watch them Yankees for over 8 years, and so not being able to stop by whenever I wanted. Wait. Losing my bar, which, is, okay, like the drink, like a pub, okay. Taylor Swift comes back to life! Taylor Swift is resurrected! Let's go! I thought he meant like losing his bar as in like his weight bar or something. Like he brought it with him wherever he wanted. Or like a gold bar, solid gold bar. Gail, thank you. Good to see you. Hip-hop was a psyop invented by CIA to sow division in America. You know, I'm on board with that. You know what I mean? Like, I enjoy hip-hop. I like listening to it to work out, to in the car, in certain circumstances in the background. Like, I mean, the structure of it and the feeling that you get whilst listening is great. But at its baseline, it is a very aggressive type of music. And it does generate a certain subculture that is not healthy for like the inner city. You know what I mean? Like it's constantly being used as this like energy, this glue that like pulls people together. Like a type of media that you look at and you craft a narrative in your head of what you want to be as like a tough adolescent, but also like what you perceive your enemies as. And I think it does perpetuate a lot of like that inner city violence. And I'm not saying it's the only cause, but I definitely think that there's a degree in which like there's a huge change, and Family Guy did a great joke about it, between like 80s hip hop and like 90s hip hop. And like that gangster hip hop like change where like a lot of the lyrics were like, I remember a woman from my work, whenever she talked about rap music, she's like, I always thought it was just like two guys that weren't friends, just always like mad at each other about stuff. And I'm like, I guess when you put it that way, it kind of makes a little bit of sense. Or, you know, but it's just strange to think that that's even someone who never listens to it, their like outside perspective when listening to hip hop is just anger, just nonstop, like expressing your anger or how you hurt someone with weapons, whatever it might be. Now I know that sounds kind of like a boomer take on stuff, but when you perpetuate that type of lyrical presentation for literally like 30 plus years at this point, it definitely takes its toll, I think, on people's subconscious, you know? I wouldn't mind some more like positive jazzy vibes from time to time. Yeah, grown men with angry poems. I've got an angry poem to tell you. I disagree. Media is constantly putting fear in you so that you've got conflicting feelings, make everyone angry. Yeah, you know, it's like I guess it's also marketing. Like, we as people enjoy being angry. I think that's why I enjoy playing Overwatch, because it makes me feel like there's some conflict to overcome or something, you know? That anger that I get from getting shit on, it keeps me coming back, you know? And I think the same feeling that we get from listening to the media, like when it riles us up, it builds that like morbid fascination in all of us. Like, I think every single person from when they were young, hearing about the threat of nuclear war, it's almost like we want to, rather than like trying to find a solution to it or brainstorming ways to like stop it, we just want to be the one that says like, I told you so. I told you so. Okay, sorry. I'm not going to bore you with all the details of the move, just the one most relevant to the story, and that's how the worst part about moving was losing my bar. So I went to the same place to watch them Yankees for over 8 years, so not being able to stop by whenever I wanted felt like losing a limb. I could drive into the city, maybe take the train if I wanted to visit and have a few beers, but what I really needed to do was find a new booze trap for me to watch sports at, and one that was within walking distance. I ended up having to settle on cycling distance instead. Cycling distance. People like justice, equality, fairness, and law, they get pissed when that doesn't happen. Well, they get pissed, but if you look at what the news is, like, but people don't take the steps to make that happen, right? Like, they sometimes do it in their immediate life with like their family or friends or something of that nature. But whenever you're watching the news, or there's like certain things occurring within your, local society or on the national level, you tend to kind of observe it from a disconnected perspective, I guess, where like you hear about shootings in some distant area or like a war across the world, and it does sort of give you a slight degree of like existential fear of it reaching your home. But that's just because then you'll have to fucking do something about it. You actually have to like make something happen. So then you get enough of that over a period of time, and eventually, your consumption of media isn't necessarily your desire to be like well informed as much as it is just your morbid fascination and desire for like entertainment, in the same way that people love watching, YouTube drama and like the unraveling of people's lives online. You really don't care about it. You might bitch about something that they've done, but for the most part, you're just sitting there in the same way that you would sit at a circus, just to go like, that's funny. The fresh and fit guy. No, who's that? Come and follow to hear you talking about nuclear war. It's happening. No, I'm just kidding. I heard that was a good show, though. Is it pretty solid? Missed the little soapbox. Yeah. I'm up on it. I'm standing on it. And it just like crushes below me. I've gained weight. I ended up having to settle on cycling distance instead, which ended up me riding home drunk more than a few times, but in the end, I found this little place called Johnny's Bar that I could ride out to, with all the same local spot feels my old bar. With all the same local spot feels my old bar just... old bar had, maybe? Fresh and Fit Drama is one of the guys knocked up a Chinese escort even though they are supposed to be red pill. He wants her to get an abortion. Oh, yikes. Well, I don't know. Sometimes you hear that shit and you're like, well, that's his problem. You know what I mean? Thank God it was him and not me. How do you do Kegel exercises? I'm going to do that. That'll be my face reveal. I'll do a demonstration similar to the way that guy like shaved his asshole on YouTube and they never took it down. I'll be doing some Kegel exercises with visual representations. Who do you watch on YouTube? Nobody really. I don't even know. I just listen to like random shit that pops up. And then sometimes I'll watch stuff for a wee bit and then, or like follow a channel for a tad and just get bored. Or I start to like subconsciously dislike the person who makes the content for some reason. I don't even know. I ended up having to settle on cycling. God. Do you jam out to R&B? I like R&B, yeah. What was her name? Terms. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Someone shaved his ass and they left the video up. Yeah, because it was like educational. But it's this dude like giving you the straight goat, you know what I mean? Or the goatsy. Where he's like bent over, ass cheeks fucking spread, hairy asshole hanging out, balls dripping. It's so fucking funny, you know? It's just like, it's just so funny because it's like such a YouTube thing to do. Like kick people off for, you know, having odd ideas or whatever, or just like or, you know, demonetizing a channel or something for, I don't know, posting a violent video game or some shit like that. But then some dude shows his entire fucking scrotum, but says that he's like, you know, teaching the youth. It's fine. Favorite characters from everywhere. Every favorite TV show. Andre. Play Yu-Gi-Oh! Duels. I doubt the story will be told. I promise we will tell it. I'm just fucking distracted tonight, you know. I'm up on one of mine's. I ended up having to settle on cycling distance instead, which ended up me riding home drunk more than a few times, but in the end, I found this little place called Johnny's Bar that I could ride out to, with all the same local spot feels my old bar had, just with much cheaper beer. And who needs familiar faces when you got 3 bottles of Bud? Now anyways, I start heading over to this place on game nights just to check it out. The first couple of times were kinda awkward. The people in Johnny's weren't rude, just a little insular, I guess. So it took a few visits for them to really warm up to me. I think Johnny saw the same 6 faces night in and night out for the better part of 2 decades, and one of these faces was at the end of the bar there, almost every single time I visited. I didn't really notice just how frequently this guy was there until one Wednesday afternoon when I took a half day at work after a fight with the old ball and chain there. It wasn't anything too vicious, and we kissed and made up by bedtime, but after slamming the phone down on her at work, I took that half day, then rode my bike over to Johnny's to get a beer. And there he was, propping up at the end of the bar, the only other guy in the place. And he's skinny as a rake, balding a little on top, with gin blossoms all over his nose and cheeks, and all he's doing is sitting there, a glass of liquor in front of him, watching the ash of his butt slowly burn down. And I didn't say anything to him at first, just said hi to the bartender and ordered a beer, and then seeing as it's the great unifier, got to talking about how the wife was giving me grief back at home. And then while I'm doing that, I start trying to get our quiet, skinny friend into the conversation. I guess I'm gregarious like that, not wanting to make anyone feel left out, but almost the second after I turn to the guy to basically be like, "Women, am I right, buddy?" The bartender very subtly raises a hand and shakes his head, as if to say, "Don't bother." I didn't want to offend the guy or anything, so I offered up a little apology to the bartender, just by way of politeness, and then carried on the conversation with him alone. At one point, the bartender goes over to the skinny guy and pours him out another. Whoops, fuck. Jorge with the 1, thank you. Anthony with the 2, babes, talked you into sending me a story. I appreciate that. Where'd you send it? Over email or Reddit? Sometimes I have urges to take the poison out. Going to the gym and at least 10 minutes of intense cardio helps. Yeah, you know, you gotta exercise all the time, I'd say. I really like cardio. That's good. Yeah, I mean, cardio sucks until it doesn't suck. And then it becomes your happy place. You know what I mean? Like, obviously the first week of trying to get to the point of running a 5K is going to blow wieners. But then the more you do it, all of a sudden you get the feel-good chemicals that come along with steady state cardio and lifting or whatever it is you're doing. And then it becomes your go-to for stress relief. Your heart is mad at you for not moving enough lately. That's okay. I mean, don't do it too hard to like try to catch up to your old self or anything like that. Just, think about, I'm going to walk this far this day, and then maybe I'm going to jog this far and then walk, and then I'm going to jog that far and a little bit more and walk, and then I'm going to jog all the way. Everything's going to be just slowly, and you got to listen to your body. Don't force anything, really. Old man hairy eggs. Anybody here collecting old man hairy eggs? Is the running for stress relief story or chit chat? It's just chit chat. I get very distracted easy, but I start and stop a lot. But I promise it will be edited and up normal time. Normal crime. Let's just say that my resting BPM is in the low 50s. Last year it was normal 60s. Well, that's good though. You must be doing a lot of cardio, jogging to really have it at that, which is awesome because it just means that like every pump of your heart is that much stronger, but also delivering that much more oxygen overall to your body. Am I buff? Yeah, I work out a lot. I lift heavy weights and stuff, but I've just been doing it my whole life. I can't fight or anything. I never learned how to fight. I mean, I guess I could to defend myself if need be, but I never took like boxing or anything like that. Or I did jiu-jitsu for a while, but I can't say that any of that would probably come back or really benefit me in a fight necessarily. I don't even know why I went to fighting there, but I do squat 500 pounds, which is sweet. Pull hair. What is that? What does that mean? Are you buff? Pull hair. Just like this. Is that a demand? I don't understand. Oh yeah, Hannah, you might not have been here when I did that. Yeah, I squatted 500 that week, and then I deadlifted 505. I felt really happy about that, and then I tried to do like a different lifting program, thinking that it would help me to like get further. And I did it for like 8 weeks, and then I like lost a lot of strength, because it like never went above like 65% for some fucking reason. How's your test subscription going? I didn't get test. I did order BPC 157 injections just because it's supposed to like help heal my busted ass shoulder. But I'm terrified to take testosterone, even though I guess you can get it at this clinic. I'm going to get my blood tested, I think, this week some point, because they did an order for that, and see where my like baseline testosterone is. You're 220. I'm 225 max, halfway there, bro. Like your max squat? No, it's awesome. If you stick to it over a period of time, and there's really no, like, you probably might have to like gain some more muscle mass depending on what your weight is, but 225 is awesome. To like do 225 below parallel like is a really big accomplishment, honestly.
Mischievous dog.
Don't do it unless you're over 40 years old. Yeah, like, and I don't feel like I need it. The person that turned me onto that clinic, they are my age, but they were struggling with low testosterone, unfortunately. But my fear is that if you do any sort of exogenous hormones, that then it will shut down your natural production. You're 145 pounds. Well, right, yeah. I mean, I would, if you want to continue to get stronger, you can get really strong at 145 pounds. You would just, over a period of time, need to like figure out how to appropriately bulk, without like while prioritizing muscle with the, not let yourself get too, like, don't do the dirty bulk where you get really fat and stuff trying to like be 185, because it's much better to do it like meticulous, where you like calculate your macros, you know what calories you need, and you focus on building, and then your strength will tremendously increase if you can get yourself to like 185 or something. But don't rush it. Like I said, look it up and figure out how to do it. Ridiculously cute voice. Thank you. Now that I have a stable income, I've been doing different things, like going to different food places and music events. I always go to the gym almost 7 days a week, but I want to experience it. No, yeah, I mean, 7 days a week is almost too much. You should definitely at least be resting on Sundays or something. But if you want to do like 4 or 5 and, have fun on your weekends, it is A-okay. Less privacy when you post the live the next day. Can make my favorite jokes. Can't delete the chat comment. Wait, what are you talking about? Been doing competitive bodybuilding and listening to you for years. No idea you were into that. It's awesome. Yeah, Jay Kreider, thank you. Yeah, no, I'm not like, I just enjoy the strength part, you know what I mean? Because that makes a lot more sense to me. The bodybuilding shit is fucking hard. I will literally get into exactly where I think my calorie deficit needs to be, and then my weight just will not fucking move at all, and then it gets very discouraging. But like whenever you're moving strength weight, it's nice. It either goes up or it doesn't go up, and it's very it's like a nice little linear pattern. Sarah with welcome back for 2 months says, have a great night, everyone. Thanks for live streams, Joel. And remember, don't let inflation win. We won't. We got to outpace it with selling drugs. No, I'm just kidding. What's up, Kitsune? Strength maxing destroys my joints more than bodybuilding. I guess that makes sense, yeah, because, obviously that makes sense, because I guess it's very heavy on the joints, and, yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. I'm hoping the BPC injections will help to heal the fucked up shoulder, but we are slowly getting there. I missed your member comment. I'm sorry. Oh, there you are, Lynn. Thank you for the 20 months. This fell and smashed my fingers. Got bit by a dog. It's been a little rough. Joel, will you please hit the Gwitty and give Pradeep a kiss? I can. Can you hear it? And I just kissed Pradeep. I kissed him right on his little forehead for you. Solly, thank you for the 10, my friend. Appreciate you. Thank you. Oh, you're also on TRT? Well, you know what, Kreider? If you're on the TRT, that's where you got to be careful with the strength maxing, because that's what our one friend who got me in connection with that clinic said, is that his strength is going up so fast that the doctor at the clinic was saying you have to be careful that as your muscles grow and your strength goes up, your joints don't necessarily keep pace, leading to the potentiality for injury. So if you're able to get TRT, maybe looking into, if it's at that same clinic, to do the BPC stuff just to help heal your joints as you go along, or help strengthen them. I don't think it's, hopefully you're getting the TRT through a more, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Anyways, yeah. But not that I advise. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Due to very low... natural... Okay, I said probably from multiple concussions from sports. Really? Okay, like it fucked up like the well, I guess testis from the testes, right? Or is the pituitary come into play there as well? I don't know. I guess it could. HGH, I don't know. At one point, the bartender goes over to the skinny guy, pours him another liquor, and then, a second after turning his back, The skinny guy downs the drink and then just says, "Another one," in a way that was so flat it kinda came off as rude. I figured Skinny and the bartender must have known each other for a pretty goddamn... Fuck, dude. I figured Skinny and the bartender must have known each other pretty well. Dude, what is wrong with me? I figured Skinny and the bartender must have known each other pretty goddamn well if he'd take that kind of talk without comment. And that, or something really crappy had just happened to this guy, which was why I'd been told to leave him alone. The bartender then walks back over to him, but instead of pouring him another drink, he puts the whole bottle in front of him and says that he'll just add whatever he drinks to his tab. The Skinny returns a nod and thanks, and then, over the half hour or so, he finishes the whole bottle, then almost falls off of his stool when it came time to leave. He's only just about made it out the door before he sort of steadied himself and took a deep breath and started off down the grass verge towards wherever he lived at. I waited until the guy was 100% out of listening range, and then I asked the bartender a question in about as diplomatic a fashion as possible, and that question being, what the hell is that guy's problem? The bartender sighed and then just stared off at nothing for a second like he was weighing up whether or not to tell me. But I think in reality it was more like he was wondering how much he should tell me. And I guess he settled on this. The skinny drunk at the end of the bar, whose name I don't really want to give away, as... fuck. Both together, I guess, was 233 and never touched anything illegal. I'm 36 now, and it's around 900. That's good. Yeah, and what, question for you. When you got your free testosterone up to from low to now 900, I know this is kind of a no-duh, but since I've never done it, but just out of curiosity, did you notice, was it super easy to, burn fat, and, was your body composition, immediately, in a better spot? I'm 53, dealing with syndrome. It joined the fracking lupus SLE party that evidently my body decided to host in 2010. You don't make it out alive, my friends. Oh, I'm sorry. 900 is a bit high. I guess 900 is towards the higher end, but apparently normal is between over 300 to 900 to 1,000, I guess. I don't know. But I guess also, what is the highest thing? I'm sorry. Normal, let's see, normal TRT levels. Because eventually if you go too high, you have to give blood, right? Sunning your butt, yeah. As long as you follow what the Liver King says, you'll be fine. Babes Maria bribed me out of gym talk. I'm sorry, yeah. I go on that tangent so bad. It's either gym or stupid fucking Overwatch. I got nothing interesting to talk about, honestly. Yeah, so normal testosterone levels are usually described as 300 to 1,000 nanograms per deciliter for men, or 15 to 70 nanograms per deciliter for women. What? That's crazy, dude. Normal women's testosterone is 15 to 70 nanograms per deciliter. That's crazy. I don't know why that's so crazy to me, but it suddenly puts into perspective why men are so fucking horny and crazy and can be violent and shit. And that doesn't mean that women can't be nuts, but it's just now you kind of understand why it's they do the war shit and fight and stuff. Wow, that's crazy. Where do you get your T tested? I mean, I guess you could go to the doctors, your family physician, and let them know that you would like to get tested for low T. But sometimes they also have clinics, endocrine clinics, or and there's also kind of walk-in diagnostic places. You carry a hog around, yeah. You mean we? I'm the only chill guy on planet Earth. I'm the only good one. I'm perfect. I'm pretty much the Genghis Khan of, like, being chill. The skinny drunk at the end of the bar, whose name I don't really want to give away, used to be an undercover cop. As soon as the bartender said that, I thought to myself, well, that explains that. I mean, the guy had probably been in some pretty hairy situations, right? We've all seen the movies. Probably had to do a few bumps of blow with a gun in his face or something, terrified his targets are going to find the wire strapped to his ballsack. But no, this guy wasn't that kind of undercover. He never dressed up or worked on his character like some kind of crazy method actor. He did all of his undercover work from the comfort of some air-conditioned office over in Albany. He didn't physically infiltrate any of the groups that he'd helped bring down. Instead, he did it online. I kind of went from thinking, well, that explains the hardcore. Joel, I'm tired to study. As a software engineer, I get laid off in January, but I got a new job at MIT 2 weeks ago. People have told me to study a master's. I feel having my own thing would be better. I do apologize. I don't know anything about, like, the job opportunities within software engineering related to a master's. Yeah, I do. I don't know anything about that. Maybe you could think about designing your own program. I don't know, like, hospitals always need better cybersecurity, especially with, like, I don't know, that getting, like, more intense, or setting up some sort of, like, coding systems. I don't know. There's always, like, ways. You just have to, like, think creatively on how you could, like, maybe introduce a product that could be marketed to people. And it's going to be a pain in the ass, obviously, but that's the way to, like, make, I imagine, good money, is you have to, like, find a thing that you can sell to people or monetize in some way. Babes, I appreciate it. Thank you. Man, master's and PhD admission is off the roof right now. Admission? Like going up? Joel is lagging, or am I tripping? Am I lagging? It says the stream is good. Might need to reset, perhaps. I'll take advantage of free school. Well, yeah, if you get free school. You're tripping balls. I have to pee right now. But I was kind of thinking to myself, like, if I had to, like, if somebody told me they could give me $1 million right now to piss my pants, I don't think I could. Like, I don't think I could physically figure out how to, like, turn off the part of my brain that's keeping me from pissing my pants right now. You do it so often. Like, you're so used to pissing in front of a toilet, right? Or a urinal or whatever it might be. But to actually, like, make it so you just, like, become incontinent out of nowhere. It's tough stuff. Do I remember the last time I pissed my pants? No, but I remember pissing my pants at a theme park one time. And it was like a weird spot where it was like it was weird. I think my mother was chaperoning a trip for my school, right? And then because she was leaving early, I got to leave with her early. But before she left, she asked me if I had to use the bathroom in the facilities there. And they were kind of like those, like, quick in and out type facilities that are sort of like, you can, like, smell the camp air inside of them. It's pretty gross. And but, like, outside of that was like sort of a sandbox and, like, play area, and one of those things where you jump on, like, the little horse that has the spring on it that kind of bounces back and forth. And I told her I didn't have to use the bathroom, but then as I'm, like, sitting on as I'm sitting on that thing, all of a sudden just the urge to urinate came out of nowhere, and I just remember like peeing so fucking hard in my pants that it like was like spraying out the like sides of my like belt buckle. It was so far like out the lip of my shorts or some shit, just from like all angles. It was like a fucking like it was, you know, worse than like that Titanic leak, you know. And she was so fucking pissed. Now granted, I didn't let her yell at me too much because I was I'm a grown man. I'm not getting yelled at by my mom for pissing my pants. Like, fuck off. Yeah, I was 25 years old. I'm not fucking dealing with that shit anymore. Just imagine, like, that's the funniest thing about being a little kid is like at any moment, you know, a surprise piss could just be flying at you. You know, I could have like made friends with another kid in that little playground, and like within 3 seconds, like his entire face could be just like covered in urine. And yeah, exactly. It's freaking cool to pee your pants. I kind of went from thinking, well, that explains the hardcore day drinking, to how does this guy have advanced PTSD from sending a few emails? But that right there, ladies and gentlemen, demonstrates the sheer vastness of my own ignorance. Because our former undercover cop wasn't busting dorm room pot dealers at NYU or Columbia. No. His job was to infiltrate online pedo rings by posing as someone who shared their disgusting inclinations. From what the bartender said, and to be fair, I've heard this a few places too, undercovers are only supposed to be on the front line for a limited amount of time, what with it being such a high-stress position. Every couple of months you swap your team out for a fresh one and let the spent one rest up and decompress so they're ready to do it all over again. But then when it came to all the Knox with a 5 says, "You're my favorite to listen to, I draw," so thank you. You're welcome, Knox, thank you. If you ever draw anything that you really like, please tag me so I can check it out. This summer when I was at bird camp, but then, when it came to all the online creepy stuff, things worked slightly different. In regular undercover work, you can't overuse your assets. You can't have one guy who was some meth-slinging biker 5 minutes ago pop up as some mafia associate in the same city just a few weeks later. A lot of the time, when an undercover operation finishes up, you can't use the same people again, especially once criminals start figuring out that there was a rat that they should have been smelling. Only with the online stuff, if your undercover had to burn a profile, they can make up another one in a matter of minutes. Definitely not a cop 69 became swear I'm not 50420, and then we're back on the job cracking into all those evil websites and bringing them down. They still arrested their guy. Whoops, not arrested. They still rested their guys every so often, but it wasn't like they needed to schedule. Sorry, my brain is like shutting off. Anyone ever read 48 Laws of Power? It's actually pretty great. Yeah, I don't even know. I remember like looking into some of the chapters and it was just like corny, you know what I mean? Because it's like, I'm not a fucking, diplomat within Caesar's court who, through, cunning and prowess is like working my way up to the higher rungs of political power. Like, I'm a fucking YouTuber. You know what I mean? Like, and honestly, like, I haven't like earnestly tried to like network with any other creators or move up in like the world of content creation in I don't know how long, so I really couldn't care less about like a book that tells me, you know, when you shake their hand, look deep within to their soul, letting them know that at any moment you could eat their first born. It just feels really corny. I heard your boyfriend scream, "Oh my God." Say goodbye, boyfriend's wiener. The people that read those books practice that stuff if you watch them. It's also one of those things where it's like I don't want to get too much into it either, because then it's like I hate books that like try to tell you about those things as if you're supposed to like expect them in day-to-day interaction. Like you're trying to like watch for someone who's going to befriend you, only to, you know, stab you in the back 56 times so they can take your Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Like, it just, I don't know. I just don't think it's applicable to really any layman. The shower got really hot. Oh, nice. He flushed the toilet. Got him. Shakespearean twist. Political figures. Yeah, wait, practice that stuff if you watch them. Oh, yeah, I imagine that people in politics got to do all that dirty stuff. I cannot imagine what it's like to be in politics. I'm sure half the motherfuckers that are in like politics for life, I'm sure some of them probably aren't even in it because it's like some cushy job that you can get a bunch of kickbacks in. I feel like most of it's just like blackmail. Do you squat high bar ass to grass with weightlifting shoes? You know, I did, but when I squatted 500, I used what I think is called a safety bar. Is that what it's called? Safety bar. Oops. Safety bar, weightlifting. But it's almost like a yoke that you get into, and it helped me a lot with like balance. You know what I mean? Because I'll do the typical squat bar, but this one I just feel a lot more comfortable with. But yeah, I do try to go ass to grass with my squat depth, or as far as, you know, definitely below parallel. Like for my heaviest lift 500, I don't know if I was like touching my anus to the mud, but you know, it for sure would have counted. Zercher squats. Yes. Wait, what are those again? Yeah, that's where you like lift it. Because I remember seeing Bugenhagen do like really, really crazy heavy Zercher squats. And I tried it a few times, and then I was just kind of like hit with this like sensation of like, why the fuck am I doing Zercher squat? You know what I mean? Because I'm like, what? Like, sure, I guess like in certain circumstances you might have to like scoop underneath someone and like help. It's almost like if like grandma fell and she weighs 900 pounds and you gotta like scoop underneath her and lift her up back into bed. But it's just so awkward that the fear of like injury just doesn't seem, you know, it's almost, to me, seems like worse than deadlift. Would it count at the Women's Olympics? Well, I might compete there, you never know. From the Midwest, what's up, Enrique? Okay. They still rested their guys every so often, but it wasn't like they needed to constantly cycle officers around to maintain their covers. And on top of that skinny barfly there was relentless. I don't know if he had some kind of savior complex or if he just knew how good at his job he was, but time and time again, Skinny refuses to go on leave or take any kind of break. He goes back into the meat grinder over and over, boom, 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 uncovering these freaks left and right through gaining their trust, maybe even their friendship, and then getting them to share any material that they had stashed away. Getting them to admit that they were pedos wasn't enough either. You can't just arrest and throw someone in jail just because they said something gross, or at least things don't work that way as far as I know. To get an arrest and a conviction, Skinny had to convince these guys to send them whatever child exploitation pictures they had, and he had to actually look at all this stuff too to make sure it was legitimate, and then another bunch of cops went about tracking down both the victims and the perps. And so, that was Skinny's job, seeing those pictures and talking to those guys, and he did it for years, taking only the odd piece of vacation time here and there so he didn't completely burn himself out. And I guess he was obsessed, but then who wouldn't be? You're taking these scumbags out. But there's still just so many more of them, and every day you take off is one that they're free to carry on doing all their evilness. And I'm not saying I know exactly what this guy was thinking, but that's just my best guess at why he works so relentlessly. And then one day, I guess things just got the better of old Skinny there, and he turns in his badge and just vanishes off the face of the earth. It wasn't actually Skinny who told the bartender all that stuff about him either. Apparently he just showed up one day, ordered himself a drink, and then kept on knocking him back until the cows came home. Next day he shows up, does the same thing all over again. And then aside from the odd vacation that he gave his liver, that guy was in there almost every day, day in and day out, doing his respectable impression of Nicolas Cage in that Leaving Las Vegas movie. You know the one, where the guy drinks himself half to death before someone pulls him out of it. Now anyway, several months go by, and then some stranger comes into Johnny's bar with a picture of Skinny, asking if anyone's seen him. Skinny wasn't there at the time, and everyone was all tight-lipped and first wondering who this guy was, and what does he want with him. The stranger then pulls out a police badge, but instead of appealing to authority, the guy appeals to the patron's sense of common decency. He explains that Skinny was an ex-coworker of his at the state police, that he just disappeared after quitting on them, and that he and his old buddies had been trying to track him down for the better part of 6 months. He explains how he thought that Skinny's drinking was out of control, how they'd been worried he'd driven his car off the Five Arches Bridge or something, and how they just wanted to check in on him to see how he was doing. I think the goal was to get Skinny on the wagon, but by the evidence of my own 2 eyes, after seeing him nearly faceplant after climbing off that bar stool, I can safely say that their efforts were in vain. The bartender then told me that that's all Skinny ever seemed to do. Stop by, talk to no one, get drunk, and then leave. And he did it, because all he wanted in the world was to forget about the things that he'd seen, and the things that he'd said, trying to land those child predator scumbags in jail, where they belonged. Rest in peace, Skinny. Skinny penis. Sorry. It's your boy. Can I run to the bathroom real quick? Skinny Pete. Asses from broken molar on biotics. Okay, gotta go to bed. Hugs. I miss Joel and those goofy chats. Oh, thank you, Amy. Feel better soon. I'm sorry about the infection. I'm gonna be right back. I gotta go drain the old squizzer. You know, a lot of people said that I shouldn't make my cat wear a diaper. Why not just let him shit in the litter box like he normally does? Well, guess what? I think it's cute, and I have no problem cleaning up his poopy diaper. Can I suggest you some groceries I'm putting in an order? Oh, yeah, get a bunch of those frozen bags of, like, 3-pound frozen bags of, like, mixed berries, you know, like strawberries, blueberries, fucking blackberries, raspberries. That's, like, my favorite thing ever. I've mentioned it a million times, but it's, like, the greatest thing for your digestion, and it tastes great. But you take them, they're frozen, they're in the freezer overnight. You put them in the fridge part of your fridge, the normal part, and then it thaws. Put that in a motherfucking bowl. Put a little honey on that shit. Some raw, you know, straight from the bee's asshole honey. And, yeah, dude, it's fucking good. It's like really not that many calories. Joel wears a diaper as well for empathy. It's, I can understand what babies are going through. How do you choose the random line that you say at the end of the videos? I don't choose it. You choose it. If you hang out in the streams, you get to pick. And once in a while, it makes me giggle, so I say, okay, that one. What's the deal with this skinny penis? Was the first thing I heard when I entered, and now I'm curious. It's on YouTube, but it was a famous Vine meme. And it was very funny. It's your boy. It's the skinny gentleman. Enjoying the stories. Thank you. Yeah, we're just recording. We're about 2.5 hours of me blabbering about nothing. Do you guys wipe? I think Joe Biden banned wiping. I think that's why my asshole smells so bad and all my clothes are covered in feces. I think it's Joe Biden's fault. I was born in Edgewick, which is an area in the English city of Coventry, and I grew up in the 1970s. Like most kids lucky enough to have their grandparents still knocking about, they were two of my favorite people in the whole wide world. I'm going to start that over. That sounded like such a slow... Edgewick? Is that where edging started? Edge maxing? Edgewick. Hello, my name is Edgewick. They don't even have it. Coventry. I manscape. I use a lawn. True manscaping is using a lawnmower. An actual one. What are my thoughts on gooning, and why do you do it so often? Just Born to goon, forced to edge. My story's really true. They are the truest true. As true as you can boo-boo. Dude wipes. Dude, where's my wipes? Dude, where's my fucking wipes? You grab him by the neck. Dude, did you use my dude wipes on your asshole and put them back? That'd be so... Somebody goes to use your wet wipe, dude wipes, and you wipe your ass, and you're like, I don't know what to do with it. It says don't flush. And you just like stick it back in the container with poop on it. Oh my god, yeah, the Tim and Eric, dude, that was the best, one of my favorite Tim and Eric skits was like that one where they had like a tube that like wrapped around from like their asshole over top of like their shoulder and head and then shot into the urinal so you could shit and piss into the urinal at the same time. It was so disgusting, but it was so funny. Ever listen to the 10-minute podcast? I have not, no. Yeah, by Cinco. Was it D Pants? Nice. Does Tim and Eric still like make stuff? I feel like I haven't seen them in so long, honestly. I don't know if like, it seems like Adult Swim fell off pretty hard, but maybe I'm just not paying attention. Is Joel a goofy goober? A wee bit. I used to love when Will Ferrell would make cameos on shit. Now I don't even know if he does comedy. Wolf Girl, what up? I was born in Edgewick, which is an area in the English city of Coventry, and I grew up in the 1970s. Like most kids lucky enough to have their grandparents still knocking about, they were two of my favorite people in the whole wide world. My granddad was a fantastic bloke and taught me to fish and shoot pellet guns, but my Nana was an absolute saint. She always had a tray of gingerbread men ready whenever we went round for tea, and she made the best roast potatoes I've ever had, even all these years later. And almost everywhere she went, people would stop her to say hello or would simply say something nice as they walked past her in the street. As a young lad, I didn't really know any better. I just thought Nana was... Pradeep, don't scratch, please. Scratching the shit out of the couch. God, I was just thinking, dude, my like one buddy, growing up, he had this mom, right? You know, gave birth to him and whatnot. She was so fucking nice. I mean, most of my friends' moms were like so nice, and I call all of them like my second mother. But like she was definitely like top, you know, within the top lists, tied for second, you know, on mom. And man, she died of cancer, which really sucked, right? Not that long ago. But she was so cool and so nice, and she was one of those people that always took in like strays, you know, like if my friend had like friends that just struggled in life, they always had a place to stay there. And I was just having a thought now of like how unfortunate it was that she didn't live long enough to be like a grandparent. Now granted, I'm not sure if her two boys would have ever became parents per se, or even desired to have children, but if ever there was someone who deserved to have grandchildren, she was fucking top of the list. Because even if you weren't like related to her, she made you feel like you were about to be, you know, fed breakfast in bed. As a young lad, I didn't really know any better. I just thought Nana was popular. Fuck. Cool people are cool, yeah. I just thought Nana was as popular with everyone else as she was with me. But they didn't love her because she made good roasties or baked a cracking apple pie. They loved her for a very different reason. As I learned later on in life, my Nana was a popular and rather famous figure in Coventry because she served in a she-shore. Fuck. Do you let your beard grow? I'm starting to. I've always shaved, but after 2 days it became annoying. I get hair really fast. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it'll get rather curly. All my grandparents are dead. My dad, too. All dead by the time I turned 20. Oh, I'm sorry, Shelby. Lucifer's apostle. What's going on? As I learned later on in life, my Nana was a popular and rather famous figure in Coventry because she served as an air raid warden during the Second World War. I imagine not many of your American listeners will... Fucking bollocks. I imagine not many of your American listeners will know what one of those is, so if you'll excuse a slight diversion, let me explain. During the war, every fit fighting-age man was sent off to the army or what have you, meaning women had to take their places in jobs they wouldn't be traditionally expected to do. You had lady police officers, firewomen, your ladies. You had a lady police. Fucking criminy. I can't do it, dude. America mentioned. This is. Wait, no, this is Britain, right? Pradeep's all fucking wound up, bro. Just rubbing his face into every goddamn surface he can. You had lady police officers. Come on, bro. Hey, lay down, please. USA, 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 USA. Guys, can we get a USA in chat? You had lady police officers, firewomen, ladies digging through the rubble of bomb sites and helping to rebuild essential infrastructure. And in the case of my Nana, you had lady air raid wardens too. Whoever German aeroplanes... Cock and balls. USA! USA! See, that gets me pumped back up. When I make a mistake, I can get right back into it, knowing that there's a bunch of people chanting a few letters together to represent my country. USA! 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 Imagine, like... just at, like, political debates and stuff. Like, somebody goes through some, like, long, articulate thing describing some issue within America, and then the person, you know, the opposing side's, like, response is just like, well, I've only got one thing to say. USA! USA! And then everybody in the fucking audience just starts chanting USA. That would be so cool. US gay? Oh my god, that's so rude. Don't say that. You gonna hoist that 2x4 like Hacksaw? Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking to me. Scotland. Ferry. Scotland needs more pride. Scotland needs to be a little bit more prideful about being Scottish. They need more people to just, like, start stupidly chanting things to overpower the opposing perspective. It works every fucking time. It's awesome. When German aeroplanes started dropping bombs on us, the air raid wardens would go around to make sure everyone was in their shelters. They also went round to make sure no lights were showing, as they did these full citywide blackouts back then to confuse German bombers. So if there were a crack in your curtains and your warden could see light coming from inside, They'd bang on the window so hard the glass would almost break, and that was you told for the night. God damn it, come on. That was what you told... No, what? That's not right. And that was you told for the night. That was you... I don't know. Maybe that was your warning for the night. So if there were a crack in your curtains and your warden could see light coming from inside, they'd bang on the window so hard that the glass would almost break, and that was your warning for the night. Anyway, that's what Nana did. Walked around all night making sure everyone stayed blacked out and all that. And anyway, one night Nana's doing her rounds when she hears a scream coming from a good few streets away. As you can imagine, the blackouts meant that the nights back then were incredibly quiet, so when Nana heard the scream from a distance away... So when Nana heard the scream from quite a distance away, period, it just ends there. As you can imagine, the blackouts meant that the nights back then were deathly quiet, comma, so when Nana heard the scream from quite a distance away. So Nana could hear this? I don't fucking know. I don't speak British. As you can imagine, the blackouts meant that the nights back then were deathly quiet, so Nana could hear the scream from quite a distance away. As she was running to investigate, she bumped into another air raid warden, a bloke this time, and as they reached the area they suspected the scream to have come from, they started looking around to locate the source of it. Minutes later, they find her, a young woman, stabbed almost to death in an alleyway. The woman was rushed to the hospital, and she survived her wounds, but agreed everyone that The young woman was rushed to hospital and she survived her wounds, but everyone agreed that she'd been very... God damn it. I feel like as the night goes on, like, you would think that, like, 'cause sometimes I come out the gate with just an absolute passionate fervor for narrating spooky stories. And then as time goes on, it's like my brain runs out of juicy juice. Fly back to the East Coast, perfect for the flight. Nice. Do you have Wi-Fi on the flight? It's badass. Decision fatigue. The young woman was rushed to the hospital and she survived her wounds, but everyone agreed that she'd been very, very fortunate to do so. She claimed her attacker had been a very nondescript working-class gentleman wearing an overcoat and cap. They also discovered that the woman was a prostitute, or rather, she wouldn't admit to being one, but there was very little other reason why a woman would be all dressed up and out on her own like that, especially when there was a bloody war going on. She was never about to admit it, though, not even to so much avoid arrest either, but because of the... But because... I don't think... Yeah. The nice thing about doing a fast, even though it does kind of... There's a period of time during that fast in the middle where you're like, you gotta be careful not to like consume too many stimulants, in this case caffeine, because it will like amplify your anxiety from said caffeine more so than you normally would experience. And The nice thing about fasting, though, is the day after, when you're just like completely fucking empty of shit and sweat. I don't know, dude. I'm done, dude. I'm cold. Are you guys cold? I'm fucking tired and cold. Dude, why the fuck is it cold again? It was warm. It was warm, and now it's cold fucking again. Fuck April. April, fuck you, dude. You suck. Fucking tease. She was never about to admit it, though. Not even so much to avoid arrest either, because of the deepest shame associated with it. God damn it. She was never about to admit it, though. Not even so much as to avoid arrest either, because of the deep shame associated with it. But that being said, she wasn't the only one who attempted to defy the blackout regulations to apply her trade, and they ended up paying her a very similar price. Fuck, I'm like seeing shit, dude. I'm like extra tired right now. Fuck, dude. I've got so much to read left. Oh, my God. Fuck me. Fucking hell. I'm almost 3 hours in and I'm not even close to being done with this shit. And my brain is like shutting down. But that being said, she wasn't the only one who attempted to defy the blackout regulations to ply her trade, and they ended up paying a very similar price. A few hours later, and Nana wasn't there to hear it happening this time, but another young lady was attacked in roughly that same area, just too far from... I can't fucking follow. I don't know what it is about like British vernacular shit, but like the pacing sometimes is so fucking confusing to my brain. It's always like comma this, comma that, comma jibbity jibbity jat. It's like 3 sentences in fucking one. How long's my fast been so far? It was just, yesterday stopped eating, I guess, at dinner time, and then it's just been all day today, and then obviously into tomorrow morning. But I definitely find that some people say you get like more clarity. I don't really. A few nights later, and Nana wasn't there to hear it happening this time, but another young lady was attacked in roughly that same area, just too far for Nana to hear it on her rounds. Again, the woman was suspected to be a prostitute, but sadly, she wasn't as fortunate as the first young lady. Her attacker seemed to have learned a lot from that first attempt, and on his second, he very literally went for the jugular. When all was said and done, the air raid wardens were scared that they had a sort of Coventry version of Jack the Ripper on their hands, and the timing of it was just bloody awful as well. The Germans were raining bombs from the sky, and as grim as it was, that brought a real sense of togetherness to the people suffering from it. So to think this bloke was, how to put it, battling against his own team in the middle of a war, it put the absolute fear of God into people. People said he was a German agent, some commando sent over to terrorize the people. He wasn't that at all, as it turned out, but it gives you an idea of how frightened people were. Anyway, this carries on for a few more weeks, until in the end, there were no more prostitutes walking the streets at all after sundown. But then, the psycho still wanted to satisfy his thirst for blood, so after having no luck on one of his hunts, he tries to break into the home of a woman he believed to be alone. Thankfully, the woman wasn't alone, as her husband was in the bath upstairs, and he chased the attacker away without a stitch of clothing on him, which probably added to the shock factor and scared the attacker off. The fact that no one was hurt was no doubt a good thing, but it was a very thin silver lining to a very dark sort of cloud, because if this blackout ripper, as the people have taken to calling him, was willing to break into houses to find a victim, that it wasn't just prostitutes that were in danger. No one was safe. As you can imagine, people weren't happy. They thought the police should have caught the bloke after the first attack, but they'd let him commit 2 or 3 more attacks before he finally went for someone minding their own business in their own home. They were outraged, saying it never should have gotten that far in the first place, and they raised such a fuss that the local superintendent promised to beef up local patrols and hire more air raid wardens to watch the streets. But then, that was no good, was it? The police couldn't very well neglect other areas of the city for a prolonged period of time, and the Blackout Ripper avoided officers and wardens like the plague. And what's even worse, they couldn't let lady officers or patrol women out on their own, so they had to double up for safety, meaning even though they'd brought in help from other areas of Coventry, it still wasn't enough to cover all the necessary ground. Then that night, when the patrols were supposed to be boosted and everything was supposed to be fine again, the Blackout Ripper struck again. Some of the prostitutes who had gotten word of the boosted patrols had decided to take their chances out in the street again, and for one of them, that proved a deadly mistake. That night's murder was the most savage yet, and it seemed only a matter of time before the Ripper decided to go kicking down doors again. Something had to be done, or rather, someone had to come up with a plan. And that's when my dear old Nana suggested something incredibly brave. That she would pose as a prostitute, to bait the man into trying to attack her, at which point she could blow very hard on a whistle to summon officers who would be waiting nearby. And you read that right, by the way. They didn't give her a gun, or a club, or anything else she could use to actually defend herself. The police gave her a tiny tin whistle, and then basically told her, "Off you pop, go and catch us a murderer." I think it might have been a bit more of a sophisticated operation than that, but I remember feeling an acute sense of outrage when I found out that they wouldn't give her any kind of weapon. Granted, not even the police were armed with guns at the time, and British police still patrol mostly unarmed, not counting your taser, baton, and CS spray, but back then, they had even less to work with if they wanted to subdue a criminal. But then, the officers standing by to catch the Blackout Ripper would be armed with batons. Nana had nothing but her wits, that bloody whistle, and a will to catch the monster that had been preying on the good people of Edgewick. And so one night, Nana makes her way down to the local police station to go over the plan one last time before heading off into the night. Then, down at the station, she dolls herself up in all of her finest glad rags, slaps on a load of war paint, makeup that is, and then once all the officers are in their various hiding places, off she goes towards the Cap Martin Road, which was where she'd first posed at bait. God damn it, that towards the Cap Martin Road, why did that throw me off, man? The Cap Martin Road. I was on such a roll, but then some like weird stick in the ground fucking fell into my urethra. Your therapist thinks you have ADHD. I have an appointment next month to determine if it's ya or nah. I mean, I don't know. Let's see. What did they give you? I'm going to ask ChatGPT, the in-house resident doctor. What do they do for people with ADHD? For people with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, a combination of strategies and treatments. Medication. Stimulants are the most commonly prescribed medications for ADHD. They help increase attention and control impulsive behaviors. Non-stimulant medications are also available and may be used where stimulants. Which stimulants do they give you? Stimulant medications are commonly used to blah, blah, blah. Methamphetamine. This medication is commonly under the brand names such as Ritalin, Concerta, and Daytrana, a patch form. It's one of the most commonly used stimulants for treating ADHD. Amphetamines. These include medications such as Adderall, a combination of amphetamine salts, dexedrine, dextroamphetamine, and Vyvanse, lisdexamphetamine. Vyvanse is notable because it is a prodrug, meaning it's inactive until metabolized in the body, which can provide a more gradual effect. Oh, interesting. Are there any negative effects to long-term long-term use of Adderall or other amphetamines. Yes, long-term use of Adderall and other amphetamines can lead to several negative effects, which these medications are effective for treating ADHD and they come with potential risks, especially blah, blah, blah. Tolerance. Over time, a person might need higher doses of medication to achieve the same effects, leading to increased dependency and potential for abuse. Dependency and withdrawal. Long-term use can lead to physical or psychological dependency. If the medication is stopped suddenly, withdrawal symptoms such as fatigue, depression, and changes in sleep patterns may occur. Cardiovascular issues. Stimulants can increase blood pressure and heart rate, which may contribute to cardiovascular problems over time, especially in individuals with pre-existing heart conditions. Mental health effects. There can be increased anxiety, irritability, and even depression. In some cases, prolonged use of stimulants can be linked to aggressive behaviors or thought disturbances. Sleep disturbances. Stimulants can cause insomnia or disrupted sleep patterns, which can accumulate over time and impact overall health. Appetite suppression. Long-term use can lead to reduced appetite and potential significant weight loss, which can be problematic, especially in children who are still growing. Potential for abuse. Amphetamines have a high potential for abuse, which can lead to addiction and other serious consequences. Ugh, no thanks. I think I'll just lock in. Then, down at the station, she dolls herself up in all her finest glad rags, slaps on a load of war paint, makeup that is, and then once all the officers are in their various hiding places, off she goes towards the Cap Martin Road, which was where she'd first posed as bait. She said she was walking up and down for hours, heels clacking on the pavement, but she didn't see so much as a soul, and after a while, Nana started to think that they wouldn't have any luck. Finally, she turned down the back street between Chevrolet Avenue. I guess I don't have it. Whatever. Fuck it. What's your scary story, narrator, origin story? In the... kind of have it a little bit. I guess I had like a couple ones with... I remember Unit 522 sort of had a story for that. But then for the million subscriber like special animation, sort of had the animation for that was sort of an origin story as well. But you can find that music video over on where was it? Fuck. Oh, the Let's Read Clips channel. Finally, she turned down the back street between Chevrolet Avenue and Grand Mouth Road. God damn it. Finally, she turned down the back street between Chevrolet Avenue and Grand Mouth Road and took a little wander down that, not realizing it was a dead end. She then turns back, only to see someone blocking her exit. The figure is about 50 feet down from her, but she knows it's not one of the policemen because he's clearly not wearing that very distinct Bobby's helmet that they were all wearing. Nana said she called out to the man, and she could tell that it was a man by the way he was dressed, but that he didn't reply to her. Instead, he started walking down the back street towards her at a brisk pace, still without saying a word. She sees him reach into his jacket and take something from a pocket, something which he fiddled with for a second before she saw the glint of a blade in the moonlight. Nana's hand went straight for her pocket, straight for that little whistle she'd been given. She knew that there were policemen just a street or two away, so blowing the whistle would have them there in seconds. But as she pulled it from her pocket, the tiny tin whistle got caught on a brass button and it slipped from her grasp. She thought she'd had it. There was no way... Motherfucker. There was no finding that whistle before the bloke reached her, but she's also sort of instinctually kneeled down to grab it back up off the floor. She said she was frozen in terror for a moment, convinced that she was about to die, when suddenly this wave of defiance rose up in her, and she whipped off one of her shoes and brandished it like a weapon. Nana said this ripper laughed and asked her, "What are you planning on doing with that?" But in reply she told him, and she didn't just say this either, she barked it so loud that people streets away heard her. "My name is Warden Eileen Topsbury, and you're bloody well under arrest." That got another laugh from the bloke, and that one a little bit more nervous than the first, and then Nana started screaming something equally loud, things like, "I'll have your bloody eye out with this heel if you come near me." And maybe that was a bit more fight than he was used to. But just for a moment the ripper hesitated, and the next thing Nana knows, she can see two bobbies coming bombing it around the corner at full pelt, shouting, "Oi, you! Stop where you are!" And in that moment, Nana went from behind, trapped in the back street boys. Fuck. "Oi! Oh, you there! You there! Put down that shoe!" They attack her. "Put down the fucking high heel!" They have automatic weapons. "Sorry, Cap, we had to use it." In that moment, Nana went from behind, trapped in the back street with the blackout ripper, to having successfully trapped him in with two approaching officers. The stroke of bad luck, and turned into a... Oh, I see. Undercover Nana Stories, yeah. I'm actually someone's grandmother in the future. Oh my God. Sorry, Nana. The stroke of bad luck turned into a stroke of good luck in the matter of a few moments, and it's a bloody good job, too. My mom hadn't been born yet, so if Nana was murdered, there's no mum, no me, and none of my kids either. Since he knew he was boxed in, the ripper tried to scale a wall to get away, but it was too late for him. The two bobbies grabbed him by the leg, brought him down, and then beat the living shite out of him before they dragged him off to the police station. After that, Nana was a hero. We've still got the newspaper clipping from that time too, and she was intensely proud of them, right up until the day she passed away. She was a bit loopy towards the end too, started losing her memory and all of that, but she never, ever forgot the night that she saved Edgewick from the blackout ripper. How can you have any pudding if you don't eat your meat? How can you have any pudding if you don't eat your meat? Well, you see, it's very simple. I just go up to the pudding tray and I start scooping it up with my hands and eating it. You don't even need to eat any of the meat. You can just go right to pudding. If you put a gun to my head, okay, and I told me that I didn't, okay, sweet. Holy shit, this one's a long boy. Okay, I'm locked in. Don't even need any amphetamines to get through this one. Just kidding, a little bit of coke. Time to read. Time to read spooky fucking story. Let's go. Just like, if you put a gun to my head and told me that I didn't tell you the craziest true story you've heard, you'd blow my head off? What the fuck? What the fuck is the start of this story? Listen to this. This is fucking funny, though. If you put a gun to my head and told me that if I didn't tell you the craziest true story you'd ever heard, you'd blow my head off, I'd tell you this one. I used to be an undercover cop here in DC, and my cover was being a street junkie. I was good at it too. Did 3 full stints before they killed off my character, as you could say. And part of the reason I was so good was no different from what makes an Oscar-winning Fuck. And part of the reason I was so good was no different from what makes an Oscar-winning actor. It's all about the way you carry yourself, your mannerisms, or what I always called a person's physicality. For example, for my junkie character, I'd draw in my stomach real tight, like I'm having stomach cramps. And after that, I'd drop my shoulders real low, walk real fast, and pretend to be wiping sweat off my brow or cheeks every so often to add that real sense of authenticity. It was all in the stomach cramps, though. People saw you holding yourself like that, or if I looked like I was going to ask them for change or something, I became the invisible man. My voice cracked. Fuck my butt. Still making your grocery list? It must be so long. Yeah, just... Oh, I guess it is good to get it all out, so you don't have to go back for a while. It was all in the stomach cramps, though. People saw you holding yourself like that, or if I looked like I was going to ask them for change or something, I became the invisible man. It was like my superpower. I saw everything and everyone, but no one saw me. No one except the other street junkies, and by the time I won those guys over, everything else just kind of fell into place. In as few words as possible, my role was intelligence gathering. I'd stay on the job for a few months at a time, really living that lifestyle aside from all the dope and disease, and then I'd take a vacation, tell the junkies I was going to visit my parents out in the country, and then be back on the line again in like a week or two, refreshed, renewed. One of the first major things was... What's up, Cam? Bent in half, sleeping, it's the weirdest thing. Yeah, that's like the fent high, right? Where you turn into a fentanyl zombie. Eve, what's going on? Welcome, welcome. We are on the last story of the night. One of the first major things we accomplished as a task force was closing a violent gang... Jesus Christ. Violent gang rape. Do you think YouTube's gonna like that one? When I put it into a video? The phrase violent gang rape. 10 true scary violent gang rape stories. Perfect. Also, somebody commented on, I remember it was a while back, somebody commented on the... it was the bullies story, and somebody commented saying... kind of not a great idea. I said, kind of not a great idea, seeing as most of your audience was bullied when they were younger. Like, there was a lot of likes on it, and I was like, I couldn't tell if they like earnestly meant that in the sense that I, one, should have been like aware of all of them being bullied and therefore not done that topic, or if they were like making a joke, essentially saying everyone was like nerds or something. But they seemed very serious in like the way that it was written up. I don't know, it just seemed strange. Have you changed up the words to make the story sound better for YouTube? Oh yeah, definitely have to. Sounds like they got bullied. But it's funny, I mean, like, you literally could just change the story title to, like, I don't know, high school stories, and everybody like, oh, I love high school. Oh, it's about bullies? Well, that's fine, it's about high school. Yeah, what's another? I gotta ask Chat BBC about this. I can't think of another word for gang rape. What's another term for gang rape? Like, what the hell are you talking about? Crime, group sexual assault? That doesn't... Gang bang? just like that out of context in the chat looks so funny. Gang bang? Question mark? Run a train? Yeah, that's... So it says here that you have a felony for running a train when you were younger? Yeah, search it up on thesaurus.com. Gang rape. Bombarding of peckers. You should do your stream as a musical sometimes, like High School Musical. Holiday. We're reading a story about a bombardment of peckers. Okay. Gang bonding. Jesus. It's a team building trip. Alright, one of the first major things we accomplished as a task force was closing a violent gang assault. I'll just say gang assault. One of the first major things we accomplished as a task force was closing a violent gang assault case which was connected to the narcotics trade. Now, I won't go into details, but the whole thing was essentially a punishment for a missing package, and it sent shockwaves around the whole city, seeing as the victim was basically a civilian. It means a lot to everyone to send these jerks to federal prison, but little did we know, it would be what they call a... what is that word? Pyrrhic victory? A pirate's victory. That's what they need in, like, gangs nowadays, is, like, gangs that talk like old school pirates. Yahar, what are you doing on me territory? Metrical foot having sort of an ancient Greek marital dance to accompaniment of the flute, its time being very quick. A foot consisting of two short syllables. Pyrrhic victory is a victory that inflicts such a devastating toll on the victor that is tantamount to defeat. Sex offender get together. It means a lot to everyone to send these jerks to federal prison, but little did we know that it would be what they called a Pyrrhic victory. Not long after we put these people in cuffs, the number of bodies being found around D.C. went up by 500% over the course of about a month, and as you can imagine, the chief of police wanted to know why. Officially speaking, all the deaths were coming up as overdoses, and some suspected a bad batch of heroin was to blame. But then some of the OD deaths were some veteran street junkies, and although junkies tend to be desperate sons of bitches, their vocation relies on them being street smart, not street stupid. And if they know that there's a bad batch going around, they'll try to isolate and avoid it. And by that, I mean find out who's selling it, and then avoid them till it's off the street. By some of the deaths were...
What's up, David?
Have you ever switched your voice tone and voice mid-conversation? I do it, but I guess I do it when people ask what I sound like in the videos or something, and I'm like, then I do that, and they're like, oh, okay. But if I were to do it conversationally, it would come off, I guess, as, like, very strange. I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. So, anyways, What are we doing later? I'd look like, Patrick Bateman about to fucking kill somebody. Or sound, I guess. But some of the deaths were cats who should have easily known better. Junkies who had all kinds of getting their hands on a fix without having to risk poisoning themselves. My point is, I knew something was wrong almost right away. Not just that there was some bad dope going around. I just had to figure out what. Something was really weird about that one. Some of the deaths were cats who should have easily known better. Junkies who had all kinds of getting... What is the sentence? Listen to this. Junkies who had all kinds of getting their hands on a fix. Kinds of ways. I wish, fucking... God damn it. Be your Sigma. What's my purpose in life? I don't know, dude. I guess, sometimes hearing that I've, helped a lot of people with sleep and all sorts of different issues that they've gone through, I'm like, well, maybe this was it, But I do feel like I'm here to help people in a positive way, because, you guys would never know about it, but there's been a lot of people in my life who need financial assistance and stuff like that, and YouTube, because of making money on it and stuff, has helped me to do that for them. And initially it's whenever they ask for assistance like that and it's a certain sum of money, in my head I'm you get worried, you're am I gonna get taken advantage of here, or is this legit, or you know what I mean, do I want to do that? Is that fiscally responsible? But then you sit back and you think to yourself, if I'm laying on my fucking deathbed, and I look back and I say to myself, that many years ago, I didn't help my friend do such and such, or help him with this such and such situation, I would feel like such a piece of shit, you know what I mean? So I feel in a way, my purpose is to assist as best I can. So many good pointers. Really, Joni? What kind of pointers? How to point at people in a crowd. You. Yeah, to defeat my enemy. See them drove before me in the consummation of the women. The lamentations of their women. You gonna watch American Psycho after this stream is over tonight? Yeah, definitely do. I know that American Psycho kind of got adopted into the sort of cringe sort of Sigma thing for a while or whatever, but it's a great movie, and the characters are supposed to be hyperbolic representations of, stock trading New York. And it's funny, you know what I mean? It's funny how brazen they are, I suppose. But some of the deaths were cats who should have easily known better. Junkies who had all kinds of ways of getting their hands on a fix without having to risk poisoning themselves. My point is, I knew something was wrong almost right away. Not just that there was some bad dope going around. I just had to figure out what. Come on. My point is, I knew something was wrong almost right away. Not just that there was some bad dope going around. I just had to figure out what. I started doing my usual rounds, not asking too many questions, just putting out feelers like I always did. And that's how I found out it wasn't coming from one particular corner, or one particular dealer even, who might have stepped on his product so hard that he didn't mind a few dead addicts. It was coming from everywhere. Addicts. Dude, I'm just hyper fixating on really fucking stupid shit now. How many people can say they've entertained millions? Yeah, I sometimes wish I could see it more tangibly. I wish I could see them enjoying it. I wish I could look through their computer screen into their eyes. Feel their joy. Lifted from Genghis Khan originally. Dude, Genghis Khan, man, he had it all. And that's how I found out it wasn't coming from one particular corner, or one particular dealer even, who might have stepped on his product so hard that he didn't mind a few dead addicts. It was coming from everywhere. People were avoiding one dealer thinking it was coming from them, and then they dropped dead after spiking the bag that they got from their safe guy. Rumors were flying around. People were getting scared, and what's worse, they were getting sick from running out of dealers to turn to. We had 4 pharmacy robberies in one day. 4. And that's what I mean when I tell people that in a city like DC, so any city really, everything is connected. And when that rot sets in, it's like mold. You need bleach to get it out, and at times, the BPD looked more like a dry wet wipe than a bottle of Clorox. Clorox. Oh my god. Clorox. I kind of like that name though. Hey, can I have some of your Clorox? You gonna drink all that Clorox? Sounded like Venom. Venom. Have you seen the Lorax? Maybe we could look a bit closer. A dry dude wipe. It's more like a dry dude wipe than a bottle of Clorox. And at times, the BPD looked more like a dry wet wipe than a bottle of Clorox. Anyways, the part when I feel like I fell down was, unlike a lot of the other junkies who were avoiding their regular hookups in an effort to stay safe, I was hunting bags like it was the last batch of dope ever made. I wanted to find whoever was selling that bad dope and get them off the street. Locking junkies up is one thing, but letting them die off in their dozens every week was no part of my job description. Don't get me wrong, street addicts do each other pretty dirty, and you'll meet some real bad ones too. But I'd say around 40% are just good people who made terrible decisions in life, and some of them I might even call them friends if I would. I should do voiceovers. I'd love to do voiceovers, man. I just don't know how to get involved, you know what I mean? How do you find the right guy that says, you're it? Come to my studio. Bring a bikini. How do I make that happen? But I'd say around 40% are just good people who made terrible decisions, and some of them I might have even called friends in some other lifetime. And so, as I was saying, I was running around Deanwood, trying to find the source of this bad dope. But then, instead of being everywhere, it seemed to be nowhere all at once. And by that, I mean everyone seemed to be able to get their hands on the bad dope when they weren't looking for it. But me, going out of my way to try and get my hands on it, I couldn't seem to find any at all. Every bag of dope I bought went straight into evidence, and after the spike in drug deaths, every other bag was being tested for toxins and whatnot. Not a single one ever came up as hot. Hot meaning fatally poisonous. So as you can imagine, I was starting to get pretty frustrated. Everyone seemed to be able to get their hands on that bad dope except for me. Where's my bad dope? Dude, we're only on page 4? What the fuck? Try out for Adult Swimmer MTV. Where do you do that at? Where do you do Adult Swim tryouts. Keep seeing ads for Stephen Bloom's voice acting course. Supposedly you can get into the business by taking said course, but I don't know. Perhaps that is the way. I wonder if Steve would like me. I wonder how, I wonder if there's, inter voice actor drama. You know what I mean? I guess there would have to be, because I feel like all actors are relatively dramatic folk, you know? David, thank you for the 1. Everyone seemed to be able to get their hands on that bad dope, except for me. At least until one day when I finally got my wish. So early one morning, I get myself onto the street and start doing my thing, putting out feelers and asking the junkies who's holding. Eventually, I get hooked up with the one guy I'd been buying from, and we meet in our usual spot to make the exchange. But then, instead of being there on foot or on bike, the delivery guy is in his car, and instead of just giving me the dope and taking the cash, he says something like, "Get in. We gotta go someplace to get it." I'm thinking, okay, this is out of the ordinary, but whatever. And I get in his car, and off we go to get the product. We ended up in some trap house, which was to be expected. But what I didn't expect was to be given the bag of dope by someone you might call a lieutenant, i.e. someone who would never regularly involve themselves in direct sales. He didn't just hand me the stuff either. He asked me to sit down in the upstairs bedroom that doubled as their kind of office, and then I was subjected to what I can only describe as a minor interrogation. I didn't get the impression that they were looking for an undercover. It was all minor questions. What's your name? Where are you from? How long you been in D.C.? That kind of stuff. They wanted to know who I'd been buying from, who I thought had the best product, if I'd never been picked up by the cops. I answered everything as honestly as I could, even the question about being arrested. Me and my boys had faked 1 or 2 arrests while I had been working, just to give me a little authenticity. So I brought up those times figuring that they... David again? Yeah, thank you, my friend. Bloom is the guy who voiced characters like Starscream, Transformers, Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop, etc. No, I know who Bloom is, yeah, for sure. Very, very talented gentleman with a very decorated career. Me and the boys had faked 1 or 2 arrests while I'd been working, just to give me a little authenticity, so I brought up those times figuring that they could corroborate them if they asked the right people. They asked a few more questions, just seemingly basic stuff, and then after that, they gave me the bag, and then told me to get lost. I asked them straight up if the stuff was safe, and they said yeah, that it was like a new package and the old one was off the streets. I didn't take their word for it, and like everything else I bought, the bag went straight to evidence and then on to testing. Testing also takes time, a long time given the backlog of crap the lab has to test, so we didn't get the results until days, sometimes weeks after we sent off samples. Usually that kind of time scale worked for us, but on this occasion, it almost got me killed. The next morning was the same start as usual. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed by 7 a.m., out in the streets by 7:30. Everything went as normal. I did my usual thing, and then come early afternoon, I went to my usual spot outside a liquor store to beg for smokes from people coming out. It was part of a big old boner. Big boner. Oh my god. Heroin Q&A, yeah. So, how are you liking your addiction? It was part of a daily effort to establish presence in the area, and part of my routine was harassing the store owner for a free bottle or a free pack of smokes or anything. He never gave me anything, which was fine because I wouldn't be able to take it without catching hell from the higher-ups, but it did big things for my character in terms of establishing that presence and authenticity. Every time I walked into that guy's store, it'd be a case of, "You again, what the hell do you want now?" And that's if he didn't open straight up with, "Get the hell out of my store, you crackhead." But that day, the day after the visit with the Hopper Lieutenant. But that day, the day after the visit with that lieutenant, I walked into his store to give him to fucking Christ. But that day, the day after the visit with the lieutenant, I walked into his store to have him address me by my street name, and the thing that really grabbed me was how he didn't know my... Oh my fucking God, why is this so confusing? But that day, the day after the visit with the lieutenant, I don't even know what the fuck this is. I walked into a store to have him address me by my street name and everything. Okay. Hey, Code Fairy, thank you for the big 20. Thanks for Joel for doing live chat. You're welcome. Good to see you. Thank you so much. Anyone seen fanboys get the hell out of my store talking to the Star Trek fan? I don't think I've seen that. Might you still have time to read my emailed paranormal submission? I probably won't. No, I'm supposed to be in bed by like midnight, so I'm always like super tired by the end of these. I still got a ways to go. But that day, the day after the visit with the lieutenant, I walked into his store to have him address me by my street name, and the thing that really grabbed me was how he didn't know my street name, and if he knew my street name, that meant someone had been talking to him about me. But if that was the case, why was I being talked about? So the store owner calls me by my street name, and right away my guard is up when he tells me that someone is looking for me. I'm posturing like I always did, asking who's looking for me in an aggressive way and adding things like, "You tell whoever's looking for me that I'm right here. I ain't hiding. I'm right here." But then, instead of telling me who was looking for me, the store owner told me that someone had called into the store, as in on a cell phone, and asked for me by my street name. They asked the store owner if he had seen me, and that when or if he did, he was to tell me to call him back, whoever he was. A lot of y'all might think that that's a little too vague to know who was calling, but you gotta understand something. None of my street contacts ever used a phone, and neither did I. Or if I did, it was always a payphone. No true street junkie could get their hands on a cell phone and not try and sell it for drug money, so me having one would have been a dead giveaway that I was undercover. No one who knew me on the street would ever ask me to call them back, and if they did, there was no way that they wouldn't have left a number or a street address or something for me to head up. That meant that whoever wanted to talk to me was from the department, in which case it was probably important if it couldn't wait until the next... God fucking damn, I don't know why I'm... So ready for meeting, getting up early. Yeah, it's I'm glad, but it's like, I don't know what it is. I gotta start the live streams even earlier, because like it's taken me to like 2 a.m. and it's like slow. I can feel it like slowly knocking my... like ideally I would love to wake up at like 7, or 6 or 7. Listen to me like bitching about not being able to wake up early. Bok choy cowboy, you can put sriracha on everything. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Live stream at noon. I don't know, dude. I guess maybe. But I don't know, it might get like a different crowd, you know what I mean? I should for sure be starting at like 8 p.m. maybe. Let's sleep. That meant that whoever wanted to talk to me was from the department, in which case it was probably important if it couldn't wait for the next debrief. I found the nearest payphone. I fished through my spare change to find enough for the call and then placed it directly to our office. I kept in character, used my street name, then the person who picked up passed the phone to the person who tried to contact me, and that's the proverbial crap hit the fan moment. As soon as he picks up the phone, he's like, "Jody, you need to get your ass off the street and you need to do it fast." I asked him what the hell he's talking about, and he says these 5 little words I don't think I'll ever forget. "You should be dead already," he told me, and then repeated that I needed to bring my ass in before I got myself killed. It was like a movie or something. I'm asking him to tell me more, and he says something like, "There's no time, I'll explain later." Anyway, so we coordinate a pickup point, somewhere discreet that didn't involve me hiding in a goddamn dumpster like he'd only half-jokingly suggested. He shows up, I get in his car, and I'm goddamn furious because doing that completely burned my cover. I didn't see anyone see me get in, but that doesn't matter in undercover work. You always assume someone's watching. You either go total immersion, or you might as well assume that your cover's been burned. And for me, there's no in-between, so, as I said, the moment I stepped in my coworker's car, years of work went to crap in the time it took me to buckle up. I told him that he better have a damn good explanation for pulling me out like that. But boy, did he ever. We didn't know it at the time, but narcotics had a mic in the... Fuck. Audrey, welcome back for 5 months. I heart you. I heart you too. Good to see you. What's happening? Well, Monday, not Sunday, since today was Sunday. Was the story getting good? Yeah, finally we're getting into it. You guys got to tell me which story we should be starting with, honestly, because I'm not really sure with this set, which one's like the most clear winner. Been good. What you been up to? Evelyn Ramirez, thank you for half a year. Says thanks for losing out on sleep for us. No worries. No worries. No worries. I'm just a little tired. Oh. A lot of the Mexican paranormal podcasts I listen to do live stream Saturday afternoons, and they get a huge number of people showing up. Think, oh, that's cool. Yeah, maybe if I did it during the day, maybe more people would be available. But sometimes I think to myself, since I'm like oriented around sleep with my voice and stuff for people's consumption, and the fact that it's like spooky content, I think I should do it late. But maybe midday might be the ticket. Oh yeah, that Nana story was good. Actually, that might be the one. Even though it kind of is like it's almost like a true crime story, but well, actually no, it's good. Fox Truba, welcome back for 11 months. Says Joel's Mr. Crocker imitation lives in my head, rent free. That's all. Mr. Crocker, who was that again? Mr. Crocker. Oh yeah, very odd parents. Fairies. Jackie Chan, welcome back for 1 month. Or no, Jesus Christ, my brain is dead, dude. Thank you for the gifter, the one gifter too. Yourself, that's actually so funny. That is so, I've never seen that happen before, Jackie Chan. But gifting to yourself is amazing, actually. That's funny. I cured your insomnia. Good. Gotta get your sleep. Gotta get your sleep. Or you feel like poop. Parents are probably tired of me playing your vids every night so I can fall asleep. Whoops. It's, do they hear it? Does it keep them up? Hopefully not. But they walk in, they think that there's a sleep paralysis demon in there. I cured Fry's IBS. Cleared him out. Cleared him straight out. His bowels are squeaky clean now. It's like porcelain in there. Been watching this channel for over 3 years, so thank you, Angela. It's a long time. We didn't know it at the time, but narcotics had a mic in the apartment I'd been questioned the day before. And that's how we learned that the baggie had been sold contained what we like to call a hot shot. A hot shot is basically drugs that have been tampered with so that instead of getting you high, they kill you. And following the whole gang assault arrest, the dealers somewhat got wind that on the street, fucking Christ. Irritable bowel syndrome. Oh, I thought IBS stood for insane blown sussy. Feeling quite emotional. You must get those emotions under control. Grab them, squeeze them, and then let them go. They kill you. Oh. A hot shot is basically drugs that have been tampered with so that instead of getting you high, they kill you. And following the gang assault arrest, the dealers somehow got wind that one of the street junkies was an undercover cop. In other words, they knew I was there, they just didn't know who I was. And so someone had the bright idea to load up a bunch of hot shots and sell them to whatever street junkie they suspected of being the undercover. And they must have murdered at least 50 junkies by poison. Jesus Christ. Bad day to be a junkie. Should have got locked in. They must have murdered at least 50 junkies by poisoning before they finally found out it was me, and the way they did it was kind of genius. They were so effective in murdering their suspected undercovers because no junkie on the planet doesn't shoot up or snort the dope they just bought. So if I bought the bag... Damn it to hell. Is there a good day to be a junkie? I guess if it's like sunny out, it's like nice. You get a good high and then you go sleep in a cool like cardboard mansion. So, if I bought that bag, fuck. It'd be funny if you're like trying to fall asleep in bed and you can't, so you're just like, fuck! You like scream. But then the scream releases so much like tension that you like pass out. That'd be kind of sick. So if I bought the bag and I was still alive, that was because I hadn't taken the dope I bought from them. And the only reason I wouldn't do that is because I was an undercover cop. The surveillance team heard the dealers put a green light on me with their own ears. They used my cover name and everything. They heard how I must have been an undercover because I clearly hadn't taken the hot shot they'd given me, and at the time, I was picked up. Fuck, why was there a comma there? There wasn't, damn it. Even worse, I'm seeing things. Why kill your customers? I don't know. Maybe there's so many of them that they know that they're gonna die eventually anyways. Do junkies play D&D? I hope so. I hope there's a grand prize at the end of one brand new crack pipe. They heard how I must have been an undercover because I clearly hadn't taken the hot shot they'd given me, and at the time I was picked up, there must have been like 100 little... What? What is this little thing here? There must have been 100 hoppers running around with... Must have been 100 little hoppers. Come on, man. Can I make it through one fucking paragraph? Jesus. They heard how I must have been an undercover because I clearly hadn't taken the hot shot they'd given me, and at the time I was picked up, there must have been like 100 little hoppers running around with pistols in their waistbands, just hoping to run into me so they could ice me and enjoy the reputation boost associated with that. And what I'm trying to say is, I should not be alive right now. To outsiders, it seems like the system worked. Surveillance heard my cover name, got in touch with the boss, and then that started the frantic effort to get a hold of me before I ended up with several bullet holes in my face. But the probability of that all happening exactly as it should, it's like I won the lottery of my life. Of my life, motherfucker. One lightly used crack pipe, yeah. Alright. I did smoke a little bit out of it. What are you talking about? This whole fucking thing's burnt. Burnt to a crisp. Looks like it just came out of a kiln. Actually, I guess if it came out of a kiln, it'd be like fresh glass. My yawning is making you yawn? It shouldn't. I have yawned yawns. I have pitted yawns. The doctor said they weren't contagious. Oh my god, I'm cold and I'm ready to sleep. Alright, surveillance didn't know my... But the probability of that all happening exactly as it should, it's like winning the lottery of life. Surveillance didn't know my cover name, so if the dealers hadn't had talk to the whole thing... What the fuck? Please! So if the dealers hadn't had... Surveillance didn't know my cover name, so if the dealers hadn't had... Why does that sound so fucking redundant? Hadn't had. I'm going nuts. Surveillance didn't know my cover name, so if the dealers hadn't had talked the whole thing out and explained exactly why they knew I was a UC... Dude, I am so fucking... Had you had it? Had you had it? I think that is redundant. I don't think that belongs there. Surveillance didn't know my cover name, so if the dealers hadn't talked the whole thing out and explained exactly why they knew that I was undercover, the call wouldn't get made. If I didn't stop by the store for some reason at that exact time, the call doesn't get heard and I'm dead within an hour. I could have got shot on my way to the pickup, shot as I was getting into the car. I've gone over it in my head like 1,000 times, and in every scenario, I don't make it out alive. But then somehow, by the grace of God Almighty, I made it out of there. And I'm not a religious person, and I kind of admire people that do have faith, but after some of the crap I've seen, I can't bring myself to share it, no matter how hard I try. And that's why I don't talk about guardian angels or any of that stuff, and I talk about the lottery. I don't need to believe in angels to appreciate how awesome, literally awesome it is. Everything fell right into place for me. That circumstance and coincidence. Fuck me, dude. It's like I'm like so cold my fucking muscles are like cramping. Dude, fuck winter. It was gone and then it's back again. It's gone and it's back again. Like, fuck off. What's up, graphic? I don't need to believe in angels to appreciate how awesome, literally awesome it is. Everything fell right into place for me. That circumstance and coincidence aligned and saved my life. I know my angels. I met them. They're my co-workers, and I owe them everything. What's up, young Hollywood? Soon you'll be old Hollywood, and you will be the Illuminati. Alright, we made it. We freaking made it to the end. Time to read our outro script. And you guys gotta think of something funny for me to say. I got like a little clown nose on, and I squeeze it, and it goes, It'd be kind of funny to have like a clown nose on your wiener, and then like your pubes are like rainbow hair colored. Anyways. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release new videos every Monday and Thursday at 7 p.m. EST, and there are super fun live streams on Sundays and Wednesday nights. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/Let'sReadOfficial, or send it over email, and you might even hear your story featured on the next video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about the extra perks offered for members of the channel. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories in big compilations located anywhere you listen to podcasts. All links in the description below. Thanks so much, friends. And I'll fucking see you never again. I'm dying. Just kidding. All right. What are we going to say? And remember, hey, can I have some of your Clorox? Clorox. The Clorox is in the trees. I can't think of anything. Drink your Clorox before bedtime. George. Oh, there we go. And remember, a dry dude wipe or a bottle of Clorox. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, a dry dude wipe or a bottle of Clorox. Oh my gosh. Let's go. We did it. It's almost 4 hours. Holy shit balls. I did a lot of sidetracking though tonight, so no big deal. I had fun. I hope you guys had fun too. I am out of here, but should you want to get early access to this audio, you can get it over on Patreon. It's only $1 a month over there. You can do a free trial as well if you'd like to see how you like it, but you'll get everything before everybody else. Otherwise, I'll get this video up on YouTube tonight. Same time, same place. Stay tuned. And then I'll be back streaming on Wednesday night. So I hope, which I might do a little bit earlier for that one, to be honest with you. Maybe I'll start at like 8 p.m. or something, just to like get it done before midnight. But either way, guys, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you. Go follow me on Twitter at Let's Read and Instagram at letsread.official. To be kept up to date when new videos and new content and new streams go live. Hit that notification bell. I appreciate you guys being here and hanging out and being awesome, great to each other as a community. That's baller. But otherwise, I will be back soon, and I hope you have a great day or night wherever you are on planet Girth. Take care. Goodbye.